Hi and welcome Beyond the Racing Line. The great robbery was taken on the weekend. We saw a robbery of all proportions where we saw a Piastri strong lead disappear into a 10-second penalty. And it was sort of lovely for the British Grand Prix fans and Orlando fans. It was sort of desperation times for all the Australian fans. And then it was all just forgotten about because Hulkenberg is on the podium. That's right, Hulkenberg, after all the races, and I mean all the races, is finally cracked the podium. I'm here to discuss it with Tristan and Sam. G'day, boys.
Hello, mates. Welcome back, Sam.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Couple of weeks off.
How good is Silverstone?
Oh, how good is Silverstone as a racetrack? How good is it with Formula One car? I love it for all cars. But for this weekend, Hulk gets a podium. I'm really up and about it. Absolutely love this weekend, Silverstone. What a great weekend.
Where do you rank Silverstone in your sort of echelon of circuits?
Top 3.
Yeah.
And I can't decide where in the top 3.
I would say top 5.
Yep.
But yes.
Yep.
And you sort of forget about it until it comes, don't you? I know I do.
Yeah, we bring it up.
I never begin the year in readiness for Silverstone.
Do you think so?
Yeah, but
we
it's,
mention
it's
it.
there.
In my household, because it is right around Paige's birthday and Spa, so pretty much Paige's birthday is Silverstone and Spa. We know when it's happening. Like, it's a major thing in my household.
It's an absolute ripper. The circuit layout is proper racetrack, isn't it?
How's the new buildings? I don't know how new they were. They look new to me.
Like
the
the studio
resort style.
apartments.
Yeah, where you can look over and see
man.
9 turns.
Oh,
42,000.
yep, you've checked out the Airbnb price as well.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Good Lord, they were expensive.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, the layout, the atmosphere, the fans, like proper Formula One fans who love Formula One racing. We can get onto them further in time, but yeah, it's just fun. It's a fun place to go and watch. To think we could have lost it in the Bernie Ecclestone days where he was really against it for a long time. I think he and the Royal Racing Club, or what are they?
BTRC.
British Racing Club. Yeah, they didn't
BRC,
agree.
yeah.
They didn't agree on things, and so he was always trying to get rid of it. At one stage, he was going to try and move it to Paul Ricard. Imagine. Could you imagine? Ooh. But anyway, luckily, it's I think finally people have come to understand how important it is in our calendar. It is an absolute ripper. And yeah, even though it wasn't the result we wanted, there was a great robbery staged. It didn't take away from it. My race ranking was an 8.
An 8?
Ugh. What are you looking for?
I am giving it a 9.9.
Okay.
0.9. I am still struggling to come to terms with the penalty that was applied to Oscar. Like, I've said this last week, I've become so emotionally invested.
It's ruining racing.
In this title now, and I've said it to you last week, I'm starting to get nervous around race weekends, like I used to, a la 2010, bit of 2018 stuff. And it ruined my Monday. I was really flat on Monday when I got up because of that.
I made sure after the race, the first thing I did, because I watched it in the morning, because it was a midnight start for us, and I was like, nah, I could do 11. I couldn't get through to 12, so I went to bed.
Yep.
And after it, I was in such a bad mood. I knew I was in a bad mood. I was going to be with the kids all day.
Yep.
And so I said to them, all right, that's it. Let's get on our bikes. Yep. And I went and changed my mindset by jumping on the bikes. We went and skimmed rocks in a dam out in the forest. And that made all the difference. And it turned my day around. And then as time has gone, I've managed to enjoy other aspects of it, like the Lando home win. I've been able to enjoy parts of that and the Hulkenberg, but I couldn't even be happy for Hulkenberg.
I kind of wasn't either.
Yeah.
Like, I should have been pumped up about that.
Yes.
I've not been excited by Lando's win, like, at all whatsoever.
Yeah, see, I'm torn on it, but yes, I've been able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Watching, actually, Ted's Notebook, I watched it today.
Yeah.
And his mum was on, and just seeing how Lando is just a good guy, and just seeing him good guy the situation was good.
I watched a little bit of what I do after my football team loses to get myself, like, to understand why. I need to watch all the posts and then go through and watch the player reactions because I need to come to terms with why we've lost.
Yep.
And then I felt like I needed to do the same thing for this, where I watched a lot of like the post-social interviews, Oscar's reaction.
It makes it harder.
All the post-show. I never watch post-show.
Yeah.
I reckon I watched nearly all of it.
I think it made it harder this time around
I
because there was
felt
so
better.
many Brits on it.
It took me a while to come around to it, but watching like Lando's reaction,
Yeah.
and watching Zach's reaction, and also Andreas Stella's, and then watching Oscar himself, and
Yes.
you're right. And I have come around, like I have enjoyed Hulk's podium, but right there and then I couldn't. I just
What was your race ranking, Sam?
Oh, more or less went for the 8+1, so it makes it a 9. Like that Hulk podium sort of brought up what was a little bit of a downer and everything like that. I know we're going to get into it. So online I gave it the 9. So I've just... there's that creaky piano
some
again.
creaks.
Oh.
Might have to move forward.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so I've given it the 9, but it's more or less a 8+1.
Hey,
Yeah.
how nervous
See
were
my
you?
8. See my 8. I'll just explain my 8.
Yes, explain it, sorry.
The fact that we needed to bring out a safety car to kill some of the most exciting racing that was going to be had across the weekend to bunch up that field, I was dirty as anything in that moment because that was prime racing time.
Yep.
And we weren't even on the wets. And so for me, that I felt like we got stolen the extra part of the race. And so I could have been nearly a 10 or a 9, but instead I took some away from it because I feel like we were robbed there as well.
Yep. How nervous were you for a Stroll podium at like lap?
Not as nervous as you would have been.
Oh boy.
Jesus.
Oh man, I was watching this and I'm thinking, no, because he came in like when the rain came down, and then he come in and threw the softs on. I'm laughing at myself. I'm thinking,
Dickhead.
what? Yeah, pretty much exactly that.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, for some ridiculous reason, it works. And he's like 3 seconds per like sector faster than everyone. And I'm looking at that time sheet and he's third. And I'm watching Harold come through and he's not catching him and thinking, nah, don't do this to me. Like, just don't. Just no.
He's
And
a
then,
magician in the
thank
wet.
God. Thank God.
He is a magician in the
It would
wet.
have been a violent episode this week had we been sitting here talking about a third.
Because as
That's-
the
oh,
resident
boy.
Aston Martin fan of
Oh,
the group,
boy.
when you look at it and you think Stroll is in third, like Hulkenberg was somewhere back in fifth, and I think somewhere over the radio, Fernando's just like,
why are you doing this for me? Why are you doing this for me?
So,
Sound like a second child, didn't he? Why'd you know why it was mine?
like, compared to last week when Fernando was in it and he's getting the points, I'm like, yeah, Aston Martin's great with Fernando in it. If I had to come onto the podcast and say, my team's great because Stroll got a podium, how would you explain that to H?
Well, look,
You can't.
luckily, we don't have to.
Yep.
Because it didn't come to fruition.
It was never going to
Because,
come off.
because Hulk is here to save the day.
It was never going to come
I
off.
don't know. I was, it looked
It was a rally for
very, very dicey. To me for a moment.
You know why I knew it was never going to come off?
Why was that?
Because even though he's okay in the wet sometimes, and that is actually a fact.
It is.
It is.
Even though he's okay in the wet sometimes, he was still qualifying near the back, so he couldn't find any pace in that car, and it was just going to
Well, I mean,
disappear.
Albert was
He
nice.
was enjoying tyre offset time,
Yeah.
but as soon as everyone was on the same tyres, I knew they were going to come and find him, and they did, which was lovely.
And the soft was a great call, wasn't it?
It was a good call, yeah.
Anyway,
Better than a hard, but
thank goodness.
We're too far
Yeah, I
in.
was just, sorry, I
We're
know. I'm
too
getting very excited here
far
with all this.
in, yes. We have got an opening question, and it's a
Okay.
ripper.
Oh,
it
good.
is a ripper. It may take you a second. So it comes from Kingsley. Sorry, Shane. Shane actually tried. Shane's unwell today, but he tried to get into the pod with an opening question. I liked his attempt.
I was going to say, does he know that it's like you're not allowed to do that?
Yeah, well, he can, but it's in the pocket. I like to put him in the pocket.
Okay.
But this one comes from Kingsley, and Kingsley's opening question is, which he is our official opening question giver.
Fifth man of the pod.
Yep. It is silly season in F1, and many drivers are looking at what seats are empty for next season. What's a good career move, and what is a poison chalice? Now, that is not the question that we're going with. That's just the introduction.
Okay.
That's the
The
foreplay.
question before the question.
Yep, that's the foreplay.
Okay,
With
that's
that in
me.
mind,
Yep.
what is your sliding doors moment? So let's talk about sliding doors moments with Formula One drivers first.
yeah.
Obviously, Dan Ricciardo decided to leave Red Bull,
Yep.
went to Renault, and I still cannot work out what would have happened if he had stayed at Red Bull. I still feel like Red Bull were going to back Max in. They were going to develop a car around Max. So I still don't know whether it's necessarily a bad move, but that was his sliding doors moment.
Yep.
Then he went and moved to McLaren.
Yep.
And that was another moment, wasn't it? Like, things were going okay at Renault, but what we know about them now, I doubt it would have gone that well. McLaren was certainly the team on the up. He nailed that, just couldn't drive the McLaren at that time because it was a bit of a handful.
Yep.
So he had a couple of sliding doors moments,
Yep.
and we'll just never know what would have happened if he had stayed at either of those teams.
No, that's true.
Alonso is a huge sliding doors moment person, isn't he?
So many. So, like, God, there's so many moments that you could go through. Like, so many. You can go, like, Max from the Toro Rosso into the Red Bull.
Yeah.
Like, the ultimate sliding doors moment is Lewis from McLaren to Mercedes, isn't it?
Yep.
Like, that is the absolute peak of them all,
Yep.
to be quite honest. Gosh, what else could you go with? Like, so, 'cause, I mean, it depends what lens you look at. It's like a winner or a
Signs.
loser.
How many times was Signs transferring between, like, Toro Rosso to Renault to McLaren, then into the Ferrari, boot from Ferrari into the Williams? Like, if he'd stayed on with certain teams, would have been in the championship fight. But at the same time, if you were still stuck with Ferrari, where are you at the moment?
Jensen from Braun
Yeah.
to McLaren. Like, look, like what could have been there with that one there. What other sliding doors moments?
So there's plenty of F1 moments.
Yeah.
Let's go into your own life. I'll give you mine. I'll give you mine. The first one that sprung to my mind, and there's probably a few others, but I lived in England when I first qualified as a teacher, and there was a moment, and I think you get a 3 visa.
Yeah.
And after 2 years, I would have to start working towards getting beyond 3 years if I wanted to stay any longer.
Yeah.
And so I had to make that choice after 2 years, and I was so close to staying there. I honestly don't think I would have come home if I had stayed any longer.
Yeah.
I was that attached to where I worked and all my friends over there and the lifestyle. And probably luckily, I came back because... then I met my wonderful wife, not long after, and then obviously, it was set up and we've had kids and stuff. But that was my sliding doors moment. I could have been very easily an honorary Brit, and I would have been probably supporting Lando. No, I do like Lando. But, so anyway, so that was my sliding doors moment. It was so close. There's probably a few others, though.
Yeah.
There's probably a few in cars and things that could have made better choices at different times.
Yeah, that's true.
You got one, either of you, that springs to mind? Sam, you got one?
Yeah, definitely. So after I finished high school, had pretty much set myself up to do mechatronic engineering. So got third in state. If it weren't for a single multiple choice question, would have taken it out. Was signed up with University of Wollongong, $20,000 per year scholarship to go up to University of Wollongong to do that.
What was it for, sorry?
For mechatronic engineering. And people from that course that my brother are connected with have actually gone on to work for the Williams team.
Yeah, right. Cool.
Yeah, right.
So I could have actually got into
What's
it.
mechatronic?
Halfway between mechanical and electronic. So they work on drones, robots.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
But a lot of them are working on the hydraulic systems and like the steering wheel interfaces that the drivers use for the wheels. Like it's nuts. And again, an underappreciated side of F1.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So really well set up for that. And then for some reason, my brain just went, I don't want to be stuck working in a desk, designing a bolt for whatever that I'll never see the light of day. So I pretty much said to the uni, nope, sorry, not for me. Took my second offer, which was Charles Sturt University in radiography. And only because of that, because luckily Paige was studying there, who was someone that I knew from my childhood back in Balranald in 2001.
Yeah, right.
And then here I am sitting in a chair talking on a podcast about Formula One,
Yeah, right. There you go. What a turnaround.
So switch
Yeah,
back
pretty
from...
much same. Working for Williams as a mechatronic engineer,
Yeah, I mean-
sitting in the headquarters of Beyond the Racing Line.
There's probably
Same,
people at
same.
Williams doing the same thing.
Yeah,
Going,
I think
like,
I could have been in
could
there.
have been in the shed. working away.
We've been robbed again.
We have.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later on.
Okay.
But there are so many people stealing from us at the moment.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Robberies
okay. This would be
thick and fast.
this would be like the fourth one, wouldn't it?
It
this
would
week?
be the fourth
Yeah,
one.
right.
I'm losing count.
You're losing count.
The robbery is the theme of this one.
Okay.
Tristan, what's your sliding doors moment?
Geez, sliding doors moment. Probably two probably come to mind. I did get accepted in Deakin University straight out of uni to do design down there.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't go because I
You-
just sort of back then. I didn't want to go by myself. I was
You
going
didn't
by
want to be
myself.
in Melbourne by yourself.
Yeah, I didn't want to go by myself. which thing I didn't have anyone to go with. And most of the time when I've been doing stuff, there's been someone that I've known or
Yep.
yeah, but I didn't want to go by myself, so I didn't go. Which I don't know.
Do you regret?
Nah, probably not regret because I'm not really sure what I missed out on. So it's hard to regret something like that.
That's true.
If you don't know what you would have. See, you know, probably this, mate. Like doing the podcast because we talked about it for so long. Like we talked about doing this for years, and then it was just one afternoon.
We talked about it ever since I got back from overseas because it was the way I'd stay connected with Liverpool.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you always used to talk about
listening to the podcast felt like I was having conversations with mates about the Great Reds, and I was like, "Oh, we could do this," and it wasn't a thing at that point in time.
But we talked about it for
we did.
so long, and then just one afternoon, we just did it. And then, like, look at all the amazing access and places we've been able to go and do and see because of it.
Yeah.
Imagine if we didn't. Imagine if that afternoon we just didn't do it. Like,
or
what we would
I
have.
think there's one in a can that never got released.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that was like a tester, and then we left it too long to release it, and then the next one was too far apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should go back and listen to that.
Because that would be regrettable, like not doing it because of what we've been able to go and see and be a part of.
And you'd never think that we'd be able to do that.
No, God, no.
Yeah. Yep. Our drink of the round as we drink our way around the Formula One circuits.
It's very pretty again, isn't it?
We're in England.
And in
the British Grand Prix, and I think there's nothing. I've got 3 selections for us.
Okay.
I don't think you're going to like any of them. You might like one.
Well, last week's was a whole like Cirque du Soleil event going on in my glass.
I can't remember
where
we.
It was like
where were we?
Nah, mate.
That was the Austrian.
Oh, we had the spritz, the Hugo spritz,
grapes and ice, and then there's
you
like
enjoyed
mint
it, didn't
beer
you?
and spritz. Oh, I bloody loved it. It was great, and it was theatrical.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to like this one.
Would have been unreal if it had like a cloche.
I'm really disappointed because this is a really bad version of this drink.
Dry ice dancing off it.
No, really?
Yeah, have a taste. Yeah, have you tasted it?
What is it? Sorry, it just looks like lemon.
This
lemon in
is
ice water.
quintessential British. It's a gin and tonic.
It smells very lemony.
And the people around the world, we laughing that you haven't tried one before.
No,
I haven't tried one before.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
What?
Yeah,
I like that. That's good.
Give it. Wow! I would have thought you would find that far too aggressive.
No way.
Oh, that's quite good.
Wait, why is it bad?
You're becoming very sophisticated.
Well, like again, it's a whole theatrical...
It's some of the worst gin that you can find. I don't know why I've got them on the rack. And then it's also flat tonic. So people will be absolutely up in arms because people are very, very particular about their gin and tonics.
No, I quite like it.
What?
It's quite nice.
So it's bad because the gin's bad and the tonic water is flat.
Hasn't got a lot of punch.
The
lemon's
ingredients that you can find in your home.
pretty much. Well, I thought I had different gin on. I thought I had some Bombay gin on the shelf.
Oh, Bombay Sapphire,
and I didn't because
right.
I'd use it in Negronis.
Yeah.
And then I've had this tonic because I don't drink them by myself, so I don't generally open them up unless my mum or my sister are in the house.
Yeah. Okay.
And anyway, so. And even then, they usually bring their own ingredients. So this tonic's been sitting there just in case for so long. And anyway. And then I opened it up in front of you and I was like, ooh, it's a bit flat.
No, I like it. It's quite good. I guess my theory is that the prettier that you make it look...
But you're going to have to remind me because I've got some other drinks to go.
Okay.
But we're only having small samples of each because they're all quite strong.
Okay, well, I quite like that. That's quite good.
But you're going to have to work your way through it. Otherwise, we can maybe get a glass from out the back there.
Yeah, we'll work it. We'll work it out.
Anyway, I mean, I'm enjoying it. Where are we off to next?
We are off to Spa.
Are we?
Yeah.
Oh, Belgian beer.
I've actually brewed one, mate.
Oh, wonderful. Excellent. Oh, so now we're talking.
So Australia versus Belgium. Here we go.
Yes, it's going to be on. Wonderful. And I'll be able to find something else that's just not beer. I'm enjoying the challenge.
Fine. Yes.
I'm enjoying the challenge. Except for I always forget and leave it too late. Let's get into the race. I think there was a race that happened. So Silverstone, we talked about how wonderful it is. Yay, Silverstone. And then it rained a lot. And it made it even better at different parts, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
We saw a Max Masterclass in qualifying again.
Brilliant.
Once again, I'm not going to go like Jenson Button out of that. He's like, he's the greatest of all time. I'm not going to make that call here because this car clearly has some ability in it.
Yes.
Under Max's hands, obviously, because Yuki's obviously finishing races last, but it's obviously got some quality in it. Now, this isn't a dud car completely. It is a real diva. The balance is tricky, but he can make it sing for a lap, and we've seen that proof over and over and over again. But yeah, once again, we did see that masterclass from Max again. He pipped the boys from McLaren. They were looking strong. Ferrari were looking strong, and then somehow just disappeared into no man's land. They sort of showed a little bit towards the end, but yeah, couldn't make it happen. And then, so it probably created a little bit of interest for us, didn't it?
Yeah.
Can Max actually pull off a Max? And everyone was probably thinking, he's every chance to, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Get into the race, we saw Oscar make a huge overtake very early on, and that made a big difference because then Oscar was off into the distance. I've said this once, I've said it 1,000 times, if a McLaren's in clear air, it goes really fast. It's a good thing for a McLaren car, all cars, but I think they really, really appreciate that clear air.
Yep.
Off into the distance, and then it starts raining. It'd been raining sort of throughout the day because they started on Inters, didn't they?
F3 was abandoned,
Yep.
I think it was early on.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
pits were flooded, yeah.
Yep, and through the start of the race, we also saw, after the formation lap, cars come in and put on some slicks. And so we were seeing a real changing environment, and that makes for a great race, whatever happens. I always say there's no point in having a wet race all the way through the race because nothing's changing.
Yep.
But if we get in that changing environment, we'll set up for that beautifully. But then it starts raining, and they pull out a safety car. Oh, tell me, what are our wet tyres for?
Well,
Can anyone tell me what they are for? Because they weren't used over the weekend, but they used a safety car instead.
yeah.
Anything?
But that's-
Anybody?
Yeah.
I
It's fair.
I liked, this is going to sound really odd because I probably contradict myself 10 times this episode, but I kind of really applaud the stewards for going with...
Down that path. It was a new path.
Yeah, because we didn't think about how many times... We started under safety car in that formation lane, and I thought...
Well, yes, and then they put it away, which is good.
Sun's out.
Yep.
Track's drying. Come on, what are we doing? And that sort of thought, oh, here we go. But they put it away. So I thought, yep, great. It rained, and we started. I can't tell you the last time it started raining and we started. And then it absolutely teamed down. 99% of the time in that kind of heavy downpour, we've red flagged. But we didn't. We kept going. And so we allowed them to all actually race throughout all of the downpour.
No,
really.
it wasn't racing. It was behind a safety car.
But we allowed them to go. Like,
Can you continue to waste laps?
But it was better than a red flag. Like where we just we pack up,
Tell
we
me,
put everything
was
away.
it better than the red flag?
Like, honestly, for me, yeah. Because
Agreed,
think
yeah.
about how many times we just pack up, we put everything away.
But that clearly wasn't going to be where we
then
weren't
you
going
get
to
the
pack
super
up.
cheap pit
Because I stopped.
I think it's okay because we had 2 accidents which caused a safety car. Like it wasn't
Not the first. No, not the first one. The first one came out because it was wet.
Well, we had Lawson come off, and he parked it. That was the first one.
No. He got himself moving again.
Hadjar-
Oh, sorry, no.
Hadjar,
He put it away.
He
Yeah.
parked, he put it away, and then Hadjar went in the wall.
The safety-
and then we lost that. And then Colapinto came. Colapinto stopped on track as well. So they were 3.
No, Colapinto never started because
He didn't start, sorry, that's
his
right.
Gearbox
Who
was
else stopped
bent.
on track? Someone else stopped on track.
But the safety car period I'm talking about, never. There was nothing that caused it. There wasn't even people aquaplaning. And they brought out a safety car, and no one was on a wet tyre.
I'm all right with that because it gave the team the option to put the wet on if you wanted to, and there were gambles up and down the field.
But
whether
no one
you
did.
Stay on it, and they didn't, and that's
because
okay.
it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, that's okay. But I was all right with that because, like I said,
You know the other problem with putting the safety car out?
what's that?
They reduced visibility for everybody
That's
because
a good
all of a
point.
sudden everybody was in the same part of the track rather than being spread across the full track.
But the last thing-
it just baffled my mind that
Last
we
thing you
weren't
want
on
is
wets.
people coming. No, but I guess that's up to the teams though. For me, like if
So
they
it
felt
clearly
confident.
wasn't dangerous enough.
No, but I feel like having that safety car out, I'd rather that and be having a few laps than a red flag. But also, we don't want people flying off into the wall. That is then going to cause a red flag. So the safety car for me was a bit of a mitigating circumstance. It said, all right, it's teaming
let's
down.
be careful.
You've
Everyone
got
be
the option-
everyone be careful,
You've
please.
got the option to put
Hold
wets on if you
hands.
want to. But rather than just...
Hold hands while we cross the road, because this could be dangerous, everybody. We've got some moisture.
But think of how many times we've packed it up and gone, oh, this is wet. Let's all come in and stop.
But we knew that they were passing showers. Red flag the race. I'm fine with red flagging a race because I'm not losing laps behind a safety car.
No, but you're losing racing and any sort of opportunity. And I know we just went around behind the safety car, but I would rather them pot around for a couple of laps and stay in the rain.
This sport has become so soft.
Sit in the red flag for 45 minutes, then do safety car laps to dry out the track. Wait till it's pretty okay, and then wait till the sun's out.
We were going to be fine.
But that's what we do in past. It rains, we sit around till it dries out. Then we check the track for another half hour. We're an hour sitting down. You lose laps at the end of the race, which means we've got a shorter race. I thought that what they did, in all honesty, was really, really well done.
You're not on your own on this one. I just.
No, I know.
We've lost laps. We haven't put a wet tyre on.
Think about Spa.
And we have become so bloody soft in this sport.
Oh, I agree.
Hold hands while we cross the road.
I agree with you, but I liked the hold hands rather than let's all go inside until it's sunny again.
Send the kids across the road. Run across the road, kids. Make it happen.
That's what we do. If it rains in Spa in 2 weeks' time, will we do the same thing? I hope we do. You'd think we'd just pack it up and go red flag. That's what we'll probably do, won't we?
Sam?
Yeah, we'll just red flag it.
You got anything for me?
We'll just do that.
No.
I'm happy to be the odd one out for lots of things.
No, God. No. Okay. So, yeah, prefer that the safety car was deployed rather than using a red flag. Everyone goes in, and then you get a free cheap pit stop. We wait till it dries. Then you can just choose whichever dry tyre you want to go on, and then it's anyone's race from there. Tristan's fair on that. But you're right.
They're never going to put them on track with dry tyres, though.
No, there was some, like George Russell and Charles Leclerc were still on the dry tyres during the safety car period and eventually came in because they could tiptoe around the track. So then you're kind of right because you have the safety car as a buffer to bunch the pack up. And if you're still on dry tyres, you can just hang it out. As long as you keep it on the road, unlike Gabriele Bortoletto who binned it at Macca's at Beckett's who still had the medium tyres on. You're kind of right that the safety car is mitigating pressure. Like, you should be thinking of changing to the wets. You should be thinking of staying on the changing from dries to intermediates or intermediates to wets, not using the safety car. So, but then pack it up and go home with a red flag. Absolutely didn't like that. But why didn't we use the wets? They knew it was a
passing shower. They knew at lap 15 we're going to have a downpour. And we got a downpour at lap 15. They knew it was going to last for about 10 minutes. It lasted for about 10 minutes. If you were so worried about it, red flag it, and let's not lose the laps. Now, you want to know why I'm mostly pissed off about it? Because they decided that they were going to change that race because of the 14-second gap that Oscar had over the field because of this little moment.
Yeah.
And so they're making changes to a race result for an issue that just wasn't there yet. Absolutely, if it was unraceable, then go and do something about it. We weren't unraceable because no one was on the wet tyres. Why are we flying these tyres around the world if no one ever uses them, particularly in that moment? This is racing. We're seeing the best races in the world in the wet. So let's make it happen. It is one of my biggest bugbears of this sport where we cannot drive these cars in the wet. And they didn't even try this time. Wet tyres were not used by one car over the race.
Yeah.
Does my head in. Does my head in. Let's move along. We did say, we saw some offs. Like you said, Franco Colapinto didn't start the race. He managed to mash a gearbox before he even got started.
So a DNS? Is that what it's classified as?
Yeah, I think so.
Because he did the formation lap, though, didn't he?
There was a bit of speculation that he did something to the car.
I don't know what he would do to the car.
The team weren't happy with him, which is the weird thing. But I couldn't get my head around. I went for a bit of a hunt today before you guys came out.
Stuck in second, it said.
Yeah, but I don't know whether he was doing things that he wasn't supposed to be doing.
Playing around with it.
Yeah, I don't know. Or if this is just like part of their we're going to move him out, so we can't say nice things about him, or can't say he's been unlucky in this moment because it looks bad on us because we haven't given him his final chance.
Oh, well, all their social media was all heartbroken emojis and all that, which made me sick over the weekend.
Yep. Don't get me started on that.
We'll get into them later on.
But anyway, so we saw that, and then we saw some other retirees fairly early on.
Yeah, Hadjar, Lawson. Gee, Hadjar's hit was massive, wasn't it?
Oh,
massive. But I wonder if it just looked worse than, I guess, what it was just from the angle that he hit. But that car was a mess.
Yeah, it was. Do you want to continue on with race rundown, or are we get into drivers? Let's get into drivers. All right. Lando Norris was our British Grand Prix weekend winner. Great result for the man. You love a hometown hero because the joy is fantastic.
It was a George Russell-esque win.
It was. I agree with that.
Again, that did nothing, won.
Yep. He had some pace towards the end, but that was mitigated around other circumstances.
His second stint, that's the pattern I
Third,
can see.
Third.
The second, third.
Yep.
The latest stint is his sort of attack stint.
Yep.
Where he'll just pot around in the first one. Oscar's very much straight out of the blocks, bang, let's make that gap, come and get me if you can.
Yep.
I don't know, like I said at the start, like, good on him for winning. I'm not up. I'm not up and about it. Like, I'm not cheering. I'm not hating on it though.
No. See, he was in an awkward situation because I saw him sort of celebrating, and there was none of I got this win because of Oscar, but he was in a funny position where it was his home race. He has to celebrate that bad boy, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He has to celebrate that bad boy.
Yeah.
Oscar made the mistake, which cost him the race. It wasn't like it was. Yeah, it was an engine breakdown or anything like that. So, like, there's the Oscar element in there. But yeah, so no, I was happy enough with it.
I feel like he knows within that too that he was.
Yeah,
honestly,
it wasn't over the top.
When you put the weekend together as a Lando versus Oscar, he's comprehensively beaten in every facet for me. So he knows that. Wasn't Oscar Lando looked like he was on top, didn't he? Oh, he did, but yeah,
and then Oscar pulled it out at the right time.
That's right, and not hating on the win either. But I have no feelings towards it, because of the situation that it aspired from.
Huge result though. I mean, we're looking at I think it's going to be a 23-point lead to Oscar in the championship. We're back to 8.
It's a 14-point swing the other way, which could have doubled, but I don't know.
Yep,
we haven't had a battle this close since 2021, and we haven't had an inter-team battle since 2016. That's the last time we had an inter-team battle. So, I think we need to sort of start strapping in.
Oh yeah.
Big time.
One thing I would say is I feel like his last 2 wins, Oscar's still been fastest.
I do too.
For the first time this season, he hasn't been able to make the most of it.
Probably could have been on pole to Oscar because he had that snap out of the last corner as well. And
yes.
I was like, but maybe, I don't know. Didn't matter. Max was brilliant anyway.
Sam?
I just figured out where I've had this feeling before. We go back to last year with Hungary, where Oscar's win was hollow.
Yes.
Because of Lando's actions.
Yep.
Here we are. You win your home Grand Prix. Greatest damn thing you can achieve in Formula One.
And one of the big ones.
Like Monza or Silverstone or Spa. Like, if you won your home Grand Prix, it's just you are the greatest man on earth on that day. But because of what's happened is that it really does. I think that's why it feels cheapened. And I think back to Hungary, where it was Oscar's first win. His maiden win ever in Formula One, and yet it was overshadowed by something that happened to his teammate. And it really is that feeling. That's why I feel like I've felt this before. You know how we've not had an Australian win at home, right?
Don't remind us.
No, but last week... celebrating, like, yes, we're back, extra contract extension, we're back, calendar, start of the round, right? Start of the year, awesome. Do you think that we don't get to see that home win at the moment, yet? Because we start the year here, and then everyone's finding out about their cars. Whereas you get to, like...
Well, there's a whole bunch of that about it.
You get to Silverstone, everyone knows what we're doing. And so you can get a British winner, you can get a German winner, you can get a Dutch winner, you can get a French winner, you can get, all that kind of stuff, because we understand it. But when you land here in Australia, we're all sort of going, oh, who's quickest?
Would I love to see the Australian Grand Prix in October, September, November? Absolutely.
Oh no, see, I'm being hypocritical here. I still want to be first.
No, see, and
I just want to see it win.
Yeah.
I love being first.
Me
I love
too.
it. It's cool. I hate being third. It's real no man's land.
Yeah, we've been third once, haven't we?
Yep. But would I hate on an October, November, even September Grand Prix? I think September's a bit busy in Melbourne, so I probably wouldn't want to place it there.
Oh, jeez.
I wouldn't.
Getting bloody hot.
I wouldn't
Like
have a
soft
problem.
margin.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that because I think it would just see some different elements of the race. October isn't crazy hot, is it? So yeah, I would. It wouldn't hurt, but yeah. Let's get into the big incident. So we hit the second safety car, and right towards the end of the period, safety car's called in late, and lights go out with only a couple of corners until he's dropping in, and Oscar sees that moment. I think there's a little panic in there. He hits the anchors, and because now he's in control of the race, and I feel like he feels like he needs to hold up for that safety car. And there is absolutely 100% fact around that. He needs to hold up for that safety car because if he doesn't, they're going to catch it. And I know there's only a couple of corners to go, but that deficit can be huge. And I don't think enough people are giving him credit for what he thought he needed to do. Was it on the extreme levels? Absolutely every day of the week. Sam, what do you want to say about him? That moment.
Oh, knocking at the door. No, it's just knocking over the beer.
Knocking over things.
Because there's two minds about it. Is that you knew the action he was trying to take because, like, Max was going to get him.
In which world was Max going to get him?
No. As in, like, it's the safety. It's the restart shenanigans. Like, you know that if you just sort of go along at a normal pace and everything like that, Max is going to square up the car. He's going to get everything.
Oh, see, this is my last point on it all. My last point that I wanted to get to is the fact that he didn't need to do anything crazy because he had Max covered.
Couldn't agree with him more there. Yeah.
Oh, wait, so this is on the restart.
We were talking about the restart, the big incident restart.
The big incident
The penalty restart.
Yeah. So you know the theory of what he wants to go for, but the execution is just a little bit too harsh. And the thing is that if you did in the dry, like, in another world, we did this in the dry, and he did that shenanigans, I don't think we'd be so up and about and like, oh, like, that's funny, like, he's trying to get Max in that way. But I'm very much someone that doesn't like shenanigans in the wet. Like, the amount of tragedies that have happened in wet weather racing across all motorsports, but especially in Formula One, you think back to Suzuka, Bianchi, everything like that. When silliness happens in the wet, we really pay the price. And I think that's why we're in such a nanny state right now with the safety car comment. We are in a nanny state because silliness has happened in the wet, and FIA wants to hold everyone's hands and make sure nothing like that happens again. So to do that, I'm just not really jazzed about. Did it happen to my countrymen and I'm kind of pissed about that? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely a bit livid about that. But at the same time, if we reversed everything, and this was Verstappen shucking on the brakes and almost getting rear-ended by Oscar, and Oscar's race ends because Verstappen dropped on the brakes too harshly, I'd be at Verstappen no problem every day of the week.
But
so
that's a completely different situation where there was a crash.
So if there was a crash, but if Verstappen pulled the same shenanigan, I'd be after Verstappen. I'd be after anyone.
Tell me, if they didn't lay a penalty on Oscar, would anyone be talking about it the next day?
No.
Ooh. Because then it's
the answer is absolutely not.
Because everyone keeps saying, like, why did Russell get away with the same thing in Canada? Like, in the comments of the
and
post.
No one was talking about it the next day.
Yeah, exactly. It completely brushed over me until people mentioned in the comments that Russell got away with a similar silliness in Canada, and I thought, hang on, these people got a point, and they're not even Australian fans.
We're not talking about it if there's no penalty. Like
me, if that's the case, I think we've got it wrong. I think we've just jumped the gun a little bit.
Yeah. I trust in what he said in the post that he went by the ruling, which is once the lights are out, you can't accelerate again. So trust that he's done the right thing there.
Can't accelerate again. Tell me.
Yeah. So once the safety car lights are out, you can't accelerate. So if you're on and off on the throttle,
right,
you can't be back and forth.
You
can't be back and forth.
Yeah.
it's almost, I mean, it is. It's instantaneous that light goes out and he breaks. These guys, lightning reaction. So for the everyday, pundit, we're looking at that going, whoa, why is that so close? This is the norm for these guys, right? So I fully trust in what he said post-race, that light has gone out, I'm not allowed to accelerate again, so I'm going to brake.
Well, I don't know about
I'm
this.
okay with that.
Yeah, okay.
I'm okay with that.
Yep.
He's hit it a little bit too hard. He's caught everyone off because visibility is incredibly poor.
Yes.
Is the penalty there? Kind of, yeah. But also kind of not.
Yeah.
Because if that was Max, we're all up in arms.
Are we?
I reckon 99% of us.
Because he's done it and he's got away with it.
Yeah, 99% of us are up in arms, right? But then I also fully agree with your point that he didn't need to do anything at all because he didn't. Max did not have him covered. He had him covered in the dry on qualifying.
But
that's when he
wouldn't have had him covered in the dry in the race.
He's running a next fortnight spec wing with no downforce. As soon as that rain hit, half an hour before the race, Max was done. And he knew that, and Red Bull knew that, and everyone knew that. So it's a little bit of a sprinkling of a lot of things for me. He didn't need to do it. He's probably not done it on purpose. He does have a little bit of that killer edge. So maybe there is an aspect that, he has done it on purpose. And he talked about it.
Well, he did it already.
Yeah, well, I've got it here. I want to show you, the telemetry. So this is... And this goes back to the Russell incident. So now we've got precedents from Canada, where apparently, and I didn't know this until this incident's happened either, right? So 30 PSI on the brake pedal is now the standard. That if you are above that, you are penalised.
No.
No, but that's what they're going off. They were saying... that above 30...
No, the commentators were saying.
Yes, no, but that's not what I'm saying.
The FIA have never said this.
I had no idea of even about the 30 PSI.
Right,
Like, if this incident doesn't happen, I have no knowledge of what George did. Like you said, it's just, that was...
the 30 PSI was only mentioned by Ted on the coverage.
Yeah.
And everyone's gone with it.
And back to Canada, we're all laughing and going, let's get Max a race ban. Let's do this kind of stuff. That's a little bit more dangerous than, when you're deliberately trying to do it. But Oscar's got a killer edge, and I can see it, and we're talking about it a lot. And so maybe there was a slither of percentage that was on purpose. And you know what? It worked because it spun him off.
Yeah,
and he was gone.
threw him big time.
And I wonder to myself that was it really Max that he was trying to get the cold tyres on, or was it really Lando that he was trying to cool the tyres down back
couldn't
there?
agree more, yeah.
It's not because Max did not have him covered. This is the telemetry, right? So if you look about the comments around, he did it prior to that. So he did. So it was lap 17.
Yep.
He decelerated from 208 to 50 kilometres an hour in 160 metres, right? So that's no penalty there. I don't know about this PSI. This is all sort of new to me.
So PSI is just the pressure that's being applied to the pedal.
Yeah, but I don't know what it is. It's not listed, right?
Yep.
So we're going, what did I say? 208 to 50 Ks in 160 metres, play on.
Yep.
Right. 216 to 52.
So pretty much the same.
In 140 metres.
Yep.
10 seconds.
Yep.
So
that's my third point.
There's difference, but
Yep.
we were 8Ks faster, and we stopped 2Ks. We're still decelerating at 2Ks quicker in 20 metres. I don't know. Was 10 right?
You're making my point. You're making my points in reverse for me because I'm about to get to them all.
Well,
so
there's
with this
all the
last
data there
one,
for you. Yeah.
if they said they looked at it and they had a big problem with it,
Yep.
go on the radio and let everyone know, hey, we want to be careful around this. This is not something we want to see. Watch your braking under safety car.
Yeah, driver's briefing maybe.
But just put it out.
Pre-race.
Put it out. And
Yep.
then if the teams don't then relay that information,
Yep.
then that's fine. So you can't say you've given him a warning with that first one because, we thought we'd let him go, but he did it twice. Now it's not good. Remember the old black and white flag?
Yeah.
That was my favourite... Jeez, listen to me go. That was my favourite thing in Formula 1 because I felt like that was the controller.
Yeah.
There was lots I didn't like about Michael Massey, but I love that black and white flag, and then he got too scared to use it. It was going to fix all the Max Hamilton fights there. If they had shown him black and white flag for that incident the first time round, everyone gets that message.
Yep.
If you're leading, you cannot be braking under safety car.
Well, you get the warning for curb strikes. Don't
Exactly.
you?
And so, just give that warning. So that's my third For me, should it be a penalty because it's dangerous? Probably. For me, that is where I'm at. However, with all these other incidents, you can't just decide all of a sudden that this is erratic driving, because we've seen people do so much more erratic driving under safety car.
Well,
erratic is simply an interpretation of people. Put some numbers on it. If you want to talk about PSI, put some numbers of the PSI. If you want to talk about the minimum braking distance and how much you're allowed to brake within that distance, put some numbers on it. We've cleared these issues up in our corners. By saying your front axle needs to be beside this point of the other car. And you need to be on the inside. You need to make the corner. These are all measurements that can be made. I hate anything in this sport that is down to interpretation of a steward, because the first thing we're going to go and say when something doesn't happen that we like, there's bias involved. And you know what? There's probably bias involved here, but that's only because there's interpretation involved.
So, hang on, I'll get it up. I've got more
because
for you.
The other thing is that it's not like he heavily braked under pressure and tried to veer off to cut him off. Like, he braked in a straight line, though, because that's going to be the next thing, is that if there's going to be some rule of such a minimum PSI, like, we carry this into Spa, and as Tristan said, if there's wet weather, then all of a sudden
we just do it into a corner.
Do it into a corner. Yeah. And then that's going to be the thing of, well, do you follow a natural racing line, or do you have to go in a straight line if you brake and everything like that? Yeah, okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
The next one is, people have talked about Hülkenberg having to take avoiding action. People have talked about Verstappen having to take avoiding action. They're all capable of running their own race. They were all at speed as well. And so there is so many variables in all of those moments where if Hülkenberg wasn't tearing down the track between all the cars, then he wouldn't be in that moment. Verstappen was on an absolute terror. The next part that I wanted to bring up, my point two, is everyone around, even Hülkenberg, even though Hülkenberg said, oh yeah, it was a bit dangerous because I had to make avoiding action, thought that it was far too extreme a measure. They'd never seen 10 seconds for something like that, and they all thought it was far too extreme. Now, if all drivers are agreeing it's far too extreme, then we've got an issue there, haven't we?
Well,
the commentators were all on board. Unfortunately, they're all British commentators.
Yeah.
The one commentator I've heard not on a British show, but not being a Brit, there are other factors at play here.
Well, this is the argument around mitigating circumstances, right? So I look at the weather, and I look at that as a mitigating circumstance to Max's reaction / non-reaction.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so this is the FIA's set menu on penalty points, right? This is the actual document we had last week or so. I sent it to you. There's the actual guidelines that have come out, right? So under the two classifications that this could fall in, so you've got driving unnecessarily slowly in a dangerous manner. So the clarification around that is causing evasive action or sudden change of a direction. Right, so it's article, for those playing along at home, article 33.4. So in a race, the following are what the stewards can call upon. So a 10-second penalty is the baseline in that situation. So that is the absolute what we're going to get, which is, again, I guess sort of new for us who haven't dived right into this. A drive-through or 10-second stop and go, or 5 seconds in mitigating circumstances. So I would look at the weather, and my argument to the 10-second, which is why most people are saying that the 10 is excessive, is that for me the weather is the mitigating circumstances.
Does that change the race?
Yeah. Well,
absolutely, every day of the week.
It did, absolutely it does. So I feel like that's the oversight that they probably should have gone with. I'm trying very hard not to be biased here and emotional while I'm talking about it.
Yeah, it is hard.
Yeah, the penalty points, though, this is the thing that's caught me with this one. The penalty points is 3 on your licence. Right, Oss has been given 2.
Yeah.
So he hasn't been given the maximum penalty points.
One of the most severe.
So if we're saying, and we've publicised this to fans worldwide, that this is our set, and this is what we're going off. So on a race weekend, you can't come in on a Monday and be up in arms and confused about why you got this and not that. But then we've not gone and applied the full penalty points. So then I look at that and go, if you're not applying the full penalty points, then your argument for mitigating circumstances is 100% there. Because if 10 is your baseline, then 3 is your baseline for your penalty points. It can also come under driving erratically or in a manner that could be deemed potentially dangerous.
Which is what they did him for.
To other drivers or any other persons, all right? And there's a non-exhaustive list I'm not going through. But it's the exact same thing. It's a 10-second baseline, a drive-through or 10-second stop and go, a grid if you fail to finish the race, and then it's 5 seconds in mitigating circumstances. So anyway, that's your penalty guidelines. Stuart set menu penalty guidelines. If you want to look that up, that's where it all is. There's heaps of other stuff, but I don't know.
Show some consistency for me. If it was considered dangerous, it should be considered dangerous in all these circumstances. We've seen people speed up, slow down heaps of times on a safety car. As recently as Canada, it is just something that, show some consistency, and then you won't cop that. Put some measurements on it, and I'll be more happy about the situation. But it is done. It's done.
It's done, yeah. Again,
move on.
Oscar's
probably moved on better than we have.
Look, of course he has. It's Tuesday.
Do me a favour. And pass me 3 of those glasses behind you there.
Over there, okay.
Yes.
And FYI, use some black and white flags like every other motorsport. When I was thinking when you were saying about the black and white flags, as Tristan gets out of his nice warm blanket and he gets glasses. The fact that V8 supercars here in Australia are using black and white flags as deterrents.
Well,
come on.
Hang on. Do you know who runs the V8 supercars?
Yeah.
Mr. Massey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So it's just like, every other form in motorsport effectively uses black and white flags except for Formula One. Like, how was that happen?
Maybe go another one. That one looks filthy.
That's dusty. That reminds me of my son about an hour ago who was climbing around in the cat bed because he was pretending to be a cat and he come out covered in cat fur.
Oh, wonderful.
That got him into the bath.
Yeah, no, black and white flags are good. I felt like they were the answer for lots of the issues that we see in Formula One. We don't like that. If you continue to do that, we're going to give you a penalty.
Yes.
And it's an easy way of sorting these problems out. I'm going to try and pour a beer while I introduce Mr. Hulkenberg, because he was third. We saw a 1-2 from McLaren, then we went into Hulkenberg. 239th time of asking.
Correct.
That's impressive, isn't it?
It is.
That's forever.
Who has the new record, Sam?
Well, the new record of...
For not
having a podium and most races without a podium.
Wait, because it was Hulkenberg and then the second one was Carlos Sainz.
No, it's not Sainz.
Wait.
I'm disappointed in you. You should have been able to
Really?
rattle that off the top of your head.
Because it was Hulkenberg.
George Formline.
Who? What?
I don't know. I'm reading it here.
I'm pretty confident it's Adrian Sutil with 128 now.
No, that doesn't come up on the Formula One.
This Sam.
Kumi Kobayashi stood on the podium. No, these are people who have jumped off.
I'm disappointed in you, Sam, because you're good with your stuff like that. We should be able to put you on the spot, and you can respond to our questions immediately.
So what is it? So the person... Oh, you mean the
who's the new
person that's
person?
next
Who
in
now
line?
has the
Who now
record?
has the record? Because it's not Hulk anymore.
Because he's got one. Yep. Even though he's been the longest, who now
Okay, so it's as in...
hasn't got one.
Got one, right. So is Adrian Searle. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay,
there you go.
now I'm following the question. Yep.
Our next drink of
I
choice.
don't think that was a confusing question.
Our next drink of choice is we're going to an ESB, which was my favourite beer when I was in England.
An ESB?
Yeah,
Sounds like
extra
somewhere I'd go
special
at the
bitter,
hospital.
and it is very much a British ale. It is actually made in Australia. This one, because I didn't get to dance and go and get
the can sort of.
maybe I'll go that way.
Spin the can around for me.
You can have more if you'd like more.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yep.
a very British-looking can, isn't it?
But this typically is served without any carbonation, so no bubbles,
It's a flat,
and is served unchilled. But
flat hot beer.
the thing about
more, please.
the thing about English beer, people always say, "Oh, it's warm." It's not warm. It's just that their cellars are so cold that you don't need to put a fridge in there.
Do I want more?
I doubt it.
No, me too. I mean, description.
Oh, I love it. I love an ESB.
Gosh, an ESB. It's just, again, it sounds like somewhere.
The carbonation ruins it. You can get it without carbonation at the brewery in Woodend.
What did you do on the weekend? Oh, God, I had to go to ESB. Oh, really? What for? Broken leg.
Oh,
Now I've got to do a data transfer. Can you give me that ESB?
delicious.
Oh, that's good.
I'll go back to the other one.
Yeah, I thought you would.
I'll finish it though. Like that's really
I know,
well
because
done.
you're great.
I
I've been
am
impressed with how you've pushed on.
I'm a great person.
I wouldn't go that far. Let's not forget Hulkenberg. While we're talking about
Yes.
Hulkenberg wasn't a Formula One driver for quite a long time. Remember
wasn't.
that?
That's
he was a
right.
commentator for a long time.
He was a commentator for a
He was.
little bit.
He was the COVID stand-in for a long time. This is a man that started big.
Yep.
And he's been through all sorts of different machinations. I'd hate to think of all the teams he's been at because he's been around.
Can you name a couple?
Oh, I can name a couple.
Yeah.
Let's go with Sauber.
Yeah, correct.
I'll go with Renault.
Williams.
Williams, Sauber, Renault, Force India. That's where he
As
had
a stand-in? Or was he actually a driver there?
Because that's
Like,
when he
did
got
a couple of stints at Aston during the
Yes.
during the COVID years. Because that's when he qualified first in Brazil, and he
Yeah.
was going on
ran
for
into
his
Lewis.
Yep.
Haas. He's been a Haas driver.
Yep.
He was always going to be a Ferrari driver at one point in time.
Yes, but it's too tall apparently.
Yeah. So anyway, well done to Hulkenberg.
Awesome.
It was just fun. I've got another unpopular opinion for you though.
Yep.
Freed from Desire, the song that gets played when teams win things, mainly in Europe I've noticed, but it's
Okay.
drifting into Australia.
Yeah.
That is a shocking song.
Yeah.
I find that so cringy whenever anyone's successful in sport. Do you know the song I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Do you agree with me on this at all?
Yeah, it's not like
I just find it so cringy.
yeah.
And then if you're playing it for a third, is it really like... I don't know. I just find it, yeah. All the soccer teams, whenever they win anything, it's blasting in the rooms after the game.
Yep.
Find your own tune. Find something that's you guys.
Are we all on board? Like the Sauber, the stake team? Like it's been a hot topic here for us for the past month or so, and just their rapid.
I think
rise.
we nailed it last week.
Yes. I said last week it had to happen again, didn't we? We needed points again.
I think we nailed it. It's all about that team principle.
Absolutely, it is.
Mattia
Absolutely.
Binotto he comes in as the Zach
Yep.
Zach Brown of Sauber,
Yep.
and he gets things on the right path.
Yep.
And then Wheatley comes in as the
Yep.
team principal, and he, you know, I know you're not the biggest fan of him, but
No,
he
but-
does the James Vowles
Yeah.
of Sauber, where James Vowles in Australia talked about, we are not building for 26, so don't get excited for 26.
Yep.
But I can tell you what we've done for 26. For 25.
Yep.
We've picked all the low-hanging fruit that
Yep.
this team was not achieving, that were easy to achieve, that is not going to take us off the path for 26.
Yep.
And he's put that in place, and Williams turned around. Wheatley's done the exact same thing with Binotto. And Binotto's sort of seen it earlier and is like, hang on, why are we not trying to win races when we can't even work towards 26 at this moment in time? We can pick some of these low-hanging fruits. I'm going to go get someone who knows where they all are.
Yep.
And Wheatley has gone and done the same thing. And he's just cleaned that team up. He's removed all the obstacles.
Yep.
And it is certainly on the right path.
Do you remember last week when we sort of threw away the line that they could get Williams and be fifth? They're sixth.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
They're sixth. They are sixth. If I tell you what, I hitched myself to Isaac Hadja at the start of the year. I am all in on Sauber right now.
Thank God.
I am all in.
Thank God for them too.
Oh,
Because what this is doing is it's setting a culture, and we've talked about this.
Yep.
Winning is not something that you just do because you all of a sudden you've got good things.
yep. You learn to win.
Yeah, you learn to win. Now, they're not winning. They're going bloody close now, but
Yep.
they're not winning, but they are on the right path for when Audi takes over,
Yep.
that this is not a basket case, and they have to do all these things
Yep.
in that moment because they're not going to be ready for it. And so, yeah, no, I'm with you. Thank God
Thank God for them.
that they've turned it around.
I tell you what, it was all on speed too. Like it wasn't luck or anything
No,
like that.
no,
Like
yeah.
he outdrove Lewis.
Yeah.
In that last stint.
And everyone was expecting the opposite result.
Absolutely, I thought too. I thought, please hang on, and it was the opposite. We got 5 seconds.
Qualified
19th.
Oh, sorry, yeah, sorry. He was the
19th.
19th qualifier, wasn't he? Yeah,
Yep.
sorry, no, I'm thinking of Gasly. Yes,
Here's
yeah.
Hulk's sort of really good run of races for this year. Australia qualified 17th, finished 7th. Spain qualified 15th, finished 5th. Austria P20 to P9, which is last week, and then he's backed it up with a 19 to 3.
Huge.
Fantastic. And hasn't it just set the lower end of the constructors are like we said, 41 to 59. It's now Sauber v Williams. But also, if you look at under that, Aston and Racing Bulls are now level pegging.
They must be fuming.
30.
They must be furious.
If Sauber are the big winners of the month, Racing Bulls are the big losers of the month.
Yep.
It's gone in the opposite direction. Sauber are kind of doing a bit of a reverse Williams too at the moment too. Williams started the year really well, have died.
And Aston Martin
Sauber have done nothing.
Found a little bit of extra something too. Their season was looking a lot worse.
Like I said, we were almost here giving Lance Stroll votes and talking about third place.
No, it is for me, absolutely Sauber and Williams. Just the way that they've turned themselves back into Formula One teams, just is nearly my favourite thing of this season at the moment. It's good. It is wonderful for the sport.
Terrific, just so good. And again, I hope this is now we see more of this, more points.
Is there a little bit of learning in this for Cadillac? I'm a little bit worried.
Buy a team and then.
Well, I'm just a little bit worried about the people they're bringing in.
I think that they're going to be a very different prospect because the path that Audi have taken is go and grab those in the know and buy an existing team. So if you look at that, it's more maybe they were giving themselves a bit of a contingency plan should it not work.
Are you worried about the lack of known names at Cadillac in Formula One?
No.
I feel like they're lacking a few Formula One people to set them on this path that Wheatley, that Vowles have been able to go and do. I know that they're different cases because they were operating as a team anyway and they've just gone and fixed them up and you've got to start fresh, so something different. I just feel like them... I don't know.
It's two very different prospects. You look at what Audi are currently competing in and it's not a lot. But then if you look at what Cadillac, like categories and other series and other motorsports that Cadillac are running in, and there's a lot that they're racing in and that they are successful in as well.
Yeah.
So
very
Cadillac,
few cross into Formula One.
Yeah.
That's my concern.
But I think Cadillac are backing themselves and going, we know how to do this. We're going to apply this to a new category. Whereas Audi have probably gone the other way. Whoa, geez, we're not sure. Let's give ourselves a bit of backup. So instead of starting a team, let's buy a team. Let's grab experience. And if it doesn't work, then that's okay. But we're not going to die. Whereas Cadillac have, gone the other way with that. But two vastly different approaches. I mean, you don't know with Cadillac, do you? Because we haven't seen it yet.
No.
But we've got a bit of a prequel to what Audi's going to be.
I think I've seen what you need, and you need some great experience and some good heads to make all the big calls in a team. I'm just a bit concerned that
I think they'll be right.
They're not quite making those calls, and I'm worried that everyone's getting a bit too good for when they join. They plan on being big. It's one thing to plan on being big and getting into the sport straight away. It's another one to actually pull it off. Sam, anything to add on any of that? There's a bit covered there.
Yeah, I'd just like to go back to congrats, Hulk.
Oh yeah, him. I remember him. Shoot, I think he came third in the race. But yeah, seeing everything, all the team celebrating, Mercedes sending the champagne, just the whole team just up and about. The McLaren driver snubbing him on the podium, that hurt, didn't it?
Come on, let's get away from that business. But because you go back to the 2019 German Grand Prix where he was in the lead in that Renault and then he spun it on one of the final corners, absolutely bins it into the wall. That was going to be his first podium, and you just see that time and time again. But it was just so good after so many years of watching this, and he sticks the podium, and for such an underdog team that just needs a little bit of even more fire lit under them.
Where does this rank in your surprise podium category? I'm going to put this up on the socials tomorrow. In the afternoon. Can you compare it to another podium that you were just, not a win, but a podium that you were just pumped for?
Oh, pumped for.
You were that's, so for me...
I thought you were going to say unexpected and Stroll was coming tomorrow.
But you're just yes. But Gasly Brazil for me in the Toro Rosso, that is along the lines of this, that you were come on, get it. And he did. So have a think. If you're listening and you want to be in on the socials, have a think. I'm going to put it up tomorrow afternoon. Where does this rank in your podiums, sort of, that you were just absolutely elated for?
Elation is definitely within the top three, but surprises definitely has to be that 2019 where Daniel Ricciardo won because Max and Lewis collided into each other, took each other out. the year before, which was the Pierre, Lance, and who was the other one on the podium? That had complete curveballs on that, like the top three. And whoever remember you guys covered it a few years ago, somebody put a bet down for that podium and they won a stupid amount of money.
Wouldn't have been
for...
us.
Oh, but like you got...
I don't think beyond the bet
won.
won.
Yeah,
No,
Watsy,
no.
Jay
No,
only
he
won when
checked
Dan won, which was not a lot.
It was
when that
8
was
times.
happening.
He won 8 times.
Yeah.
No, but somebody foolishly put like $1 on like Pierre, then whoever else, and then Stroll getting the third in Monza, and they won a stupid amount of money off that bad boy.
1 to 750 Hog was paying in the UK. I saw for a podium. 750 to 1.
Right,
Sorry, I
okay.
said that the wrong way around. I don't gamble. 750 to 1.
Oh, there you go.
Put $1 in, you get 750 back.
That's right, Sam. That's how that works.
Economics.
You're onto
You're
this.
a smart
You're
man.
onto this.
How
I
much
reckon
would
there
you
might
get if
still
you
be
put
a chance.
$2 in, Sam?
More.
Your
More of
retirement
those
fund.
monies. Let's go. Bortoletto was a DNF. I mean, the way we do this is we have to mention the other team, so it seems weird that I mentioned Bortoletto. I mean, we are a long way into the episode, but yeah.
True.
So yeah, he had DNF, unfortunately, but yeah, was showing some promise. He had some good speed at different times. Lewis Hamilton ended up in 4th.
Yeah.
They showed so much potential through practice, and then it just sort of seemed to dwindle away when it came to qualifying.
And Charles absolutely hating on himself.
And so he should.
It just
It
hated
was a
on himself.
ridiculous race, wasn't
He's
it?
just like, I'm so just...
Yeah, the team made mistake after mistake. He encouraged the mistakes.
Yeah.
Not as many as I feel like Russell. I know, no, he probably won the mistake war.
Yeah. No, messy for them. I mean, like, you'd often be excited for you'd often be pretty positive and upbeat about the Lewis 4th, but not that we're not, but what happened in front of him was much more.
So good.
Yeah.
Much
so
more
good. And
enthralling than
who
that.
else
So-
is blown away that Lewis couldn't catch him?
Yeah,
He
no,
tried.
mate, honest. When it
Yeah.
got to 5 seconds, and then suddenly it went to 7. When really we all thought it was just going to get to 3.
Yeah,
2,
I
1.
thought he must have just gone off.
Yep.
And it's still on, but
Yep.
no, it didn't.
No,
yeah,
he
so-
just had him. He had him covered too. And again, God, geez, a Ferrari. That would be alarm bells ringing in Maranello to watch a Sauber outrun a Ferrari in a stint. Yeah, I know it was a handful of laps, but he outran him. So
Yep.
anyway, it's just I don't know.
Ferrari was showing so much, and then it rained, and then it fell away from them.
Are they though? I still disagree
They
on
put
that.
No. In terms of practice sessions, they were matching him. I was like, oh, hello. Even in qualifying, we're sort of seeing them, and then they just when it counted, they weren't there. And I think the wet weather's really cooked them in the end.
Oh, yeah.
Max Verstappen, he was doing Max Verstappen things, and then he did a really un-Max Verstappen-y thing.
Yes, he spun.
He spun,
He doesn't
thrown by the Oscar.
He doesn't
Oscar
spin.
incident.
He doesn't spin. Jeez, his qualifying lap was phenomenal. Again,
Yep.
wasn't it? But he came out in the post-race, said, hey, I'm not too fussed. We're not in this.
Yeah.
And we questioned
Did
that.
you listen to him?
I
Because
did.
I've told you this, and you wouldn't agree with
I
me.
questioned it last week because Helmut Marko said it and said we're out of this. And I think, no, we're not. I mean, is he out of it? I don't know. Probably. Do I want him to be out of it? Not really, but he probably is. And he was so like, oh, well, doesn't matter.
Oh, that's what happens when you win 4.
Yeah.
And you're going into...
Good on him.
And you're going into a Mercedes-powered engine next year.
Wow.
Maybe.
Yeah,
We'll see.
maybe.
His partner, Yuki Tsunoda.
Well,
Where's my whiteboard?
yeah.
I've got him as a pretender.
Oh, have you?
Is that-
Yeah, correct.
So if those people who weren't listening last week, we've now got a whiteboard, and I've got top shelf, and I've got some people coming up with suggestions for the second one. Glass ceiling is the second
Glass
tier.
ceiling. I
Yeah.
would see glass ceiling as top shelf, but higher than top shelf.
No, nothing's higher than top shelf.
Glass ceiling.
Top
Glass
shelf.
ceiling. That
Yeah,
means
no,
limitless. Like,
No, I think that's like...
No, if you go through the glass ceiling, then you shatter it, and
Yeah,
Gives
you've
yourself
got a limit. You can't go any higher.
because if you do, you hurt yourself.
no.
Well, that'd be like
I
Icarus,
mean,
though.
that's like literally like a glass
And-
ceiling on things is that there is no limit
Hang
because the
on.
sky is the limit.
No,
That's
because the
meaning
glass
behind it.
there.
Yeah,
The glass there.
I'm going to check this.
It's not what it
Anything.
means.
So pretender and bottom of the barrel. I've got Yuki as a pretender, which is second off bottom of the barrel. Ocon, I'm right. Pretender. Yuki a pretender.
Oh, I've got
am
Ocon in
I
there.
being generous, or is he bottom of the barrel?
No, he's not bottom of the barrel.
Jesus
Yeah, I'm right.
No,
Thank
no,
you.
no,
That's
no,
what
the
class
opposite.
means.
No, you're really the opposite way. An
class
unacknowledged barrier to advancement in a profession, especially affected by women and people of minorities.
But you're at your top. You're at your top of your where you can get to.
Yeah, but you can't see why you can't go any higher. Yuki is not a... Wait, who was going for glass ceiling, though?
I've lost
No,
that.
no one. Someone mentioned it from the second row.
about to say,
he
Yuki's not a
is a
glass
pretender.
ceiling.
He's not a bottom of the barrel, but
Okay.
he's a pretender.
Last again.
I'm off him.
Yeah, me too.
I'm off him.
Yeah,
I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I gave him plenty of time. I had his back.
Down with the ship.
I really need this second shelf because would Hulkenberg be on this second shelf?
Well, I mean, really,
No, he's not. But he's a mid tier.
really?
Oh, he's a mid tier man.
Really?
He's a high end mid tier, I think.
Jeez, yeah, maybe.
But I reckon someone else asked us if he's underrated last week.
Yeah, I think they did actually. Yeah. Yeah. So no, I'm off him. Look, I mean, if he scores a couple more points throughout the year, that's fine. But I feel like. Just from a personal perspective, I gave him plenty of support, and he's
Pierre Gasly.
Oh, talk about like the unsung.
So you wanted him in the top shelf last week.
Yeah. I mean,
You're still wrong, but
no,
yeah.
I wouldn't say that. But yeah, no, sixth in an Alpine.
I'd put him in the same category as a Hulkenberg.
Really?
Yeah.
'Cause that Alpine sucks. And he finished sixth.
It doesn't at times, and it was a race of circumstances. But he did put
suck.
it. He put it on fifth in qualifying, which I was very impressed with.
Absolutely. So that's for me. Like that's why I think top shelf. This is the unsung result of the weekend. That if we didn't have the Oscar moment, we didn't have the Hulk moment, and we didn't have
I think for me that Alpine has got some qualities. It's just that window is just so narrow. If they can't find it, due to the fact they've got no second driver really helping find it,
I don't think the Alpine has
I think that's where the Bottas.
any qualities.
So I think this is where the Bottas question's coming in. They want to know more about this car, and so they want to see whether Bottas can do something with it.
Our races are up. This is the official. Well, this is six really. This is a six, right? So, Colapinto v. Jack, because the argument we had the other week is if we've got anything better, and if this doesn't nail the answer for you, well then I don't know what will. So, in the first...
Bit harsh, because Colapinto couldn't race this race.
First race to second to third. This is the six, right? So this is his first race compared to Jack's first race. 16 v DNF, 13 v 13, 15 v 15, 13 14, 15, 17, and then DNF. We've not got a better driver.
No, we've got
the exact same thing.
For me,
what we've got.
Yeah, I felt like, and it could just be my Aussie bias coming out. I felt like we saw some signs from Jack that he had some good speed there, and wasn't able to develop it. You could nearly say the same for Franco. Franco showed some signs occasionally, but oh man, it's been more occasionally than not. Franco has been at the back of that grid so often. Yeah. Let's move on to. I really need this next tier. Let's move on to Lance Stroll, because Stroll, he finished 7th. He was looking like a podium at one point.
Well, he abused his Aston post-race, saying it was the worst piece of shit that he's ever driven in his life.
That's a real Lewis thing to do. Remember, Lewis used to call cars crap. I know I make it look good, but it's really me, the car's rubbish.
Which again makes no sense to me, considering you scored points again. You were podium bound for a quarter of the race.
Yeah. No, I know. But yeah, so it sounded like he was trying to go with that playbook, but anyway.
Yeah.
He didn't make it happen. But it was an okay effort.
It was an incredibly brave call from the pit lane, which resulted in what we've got.
Yeah, but he made the softs work. He had to make them work. He didn't crash when they were a bit tedious.
He didn't crash.
So you got to give him some credit. They managed that situation well. He's okay in the wet, Tristan.
He's okay in the wet, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, did Lance sit in the cockpit and be like, let's go soft, let's do this? Nope.
Alonso wanted to do things like that.
Yes.
Wasn't allowed to.
Wasn't allowed to, yeah.
And then he went,
Makes no
why do you
sense
always mess up my strategies?
And then they pitted him first, second time round.
He had the same strategy as all the leaders.
No,
the problem was...
he got caught up.
And also, he's not a leader. And so he was within the pack. So, yeah, lots of people are like, I don't know why he was so upset, because he was on the fastest strategy that everyone else was on.
Yep.
The thing was, he was all in amongst amongst everything. So anyway, Alex Albon picked up some points in 8th. And then and Carlos Sainz was 12th. George Russell.
Mercedes could not have had a more horror show weekend. And I'll tell you
Toto
why.
Wolff said this.
And I'll tell you why. Because the theory on heated Mercedes is correct.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go through the history books, when Mercedes dress up,
Yes.
it goes
do.
wrong.
Yes.
And they dressed up this weekend.
Did they?
And they had the stupid-looking Peaky Blinders hats on.
Did
And
say
Toto
on the
had
page,
it. And they dressed up.
You know what?
And it went wrong.
I saw a special livery I liked.
What, the Mercedes with the orange badge on the front?
No.
Yeah, and little orange accents at the back.
Oh, I like the orange accents. They were quite good.
For me, I was like, yeah, sure.
I like that.
Why not?
Yeah, I like that. My thought was, why don't you go red for Nicky and then permanently have it? That would look great.
Yes.
But they dressed up and it went wrong.
Why did they go orange?
Because...
the new
something to do with
concept car.
yeah, and then...
Something to do with sunset
like,
something?
Yeah, like, forgive me, like, the names of all this escape me, but they have a concept car from, like, the 70s, which George rolled in.
Cool
Which is
car.
orange.
Yeah, it was lovely.
All right, and so then they've
Sunset
made a
orange.
brand new version of that
Oh,
concept
I see,
car,
I
which is
see,
also
I see,
orange.
I see.
And so they decided to
So
all
it's just
go
a big
orange.
branding thing, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
which, I don't know, for me it didn't work because McLaren's orange, so you don't
I like the little accents on there.
try. Yeah, I thought that
I
worked
thought
really
they looked
well.
really cool because I don't like, as you know, I don't like
No,
special
you
liveries
don't
because they're
like
no longer
liveries.
special.
No, they're not, but we had a couple of good ones actually.
Which did you like the McLaren?
Loved it. Could have been more chrome.
There was the Chrome McLaren. Haven't we already done this before, which was like Singapore last year?
But we had like a little bit, but this time we had a lot more of it. But if you looked really closely, it was like grey and chrome.
Did I like it?
Yeah,
It was okay.
I loved
Yeah,
it.
it was
I
like-
thought
yeah, it was
it was
okay.
fantastic.
But it's not special. Don't call it special. It's just a chrome McLaren.
It's just not. We wanted to go all chrome like a la 08, 09 era sort of thing.
Yes.
But then we just left the orange on there. So you just got to like, you're all in, or you're not. So next time around, just make the whole thing chrome, like all of it.
And then change like a few of the
No,
logos
just
so it
all of
looks
it.
no, so it looks
of it,
like the 08.
Yep, just
you
all
need,
the
you
chrome.
need some
all
orange
chrome.
because then it's just not your car anymore.
Well, that's the idea behind a special livery, is to make it different.
Yeah, but it's not because they do it all the time.
I liked the what do you think of the racing ball one? I quite like that.
The one with the
Nah.
With the
eyes that
graffiti
look like
logo.
No.
Yeah.
balls, yeah.
They could change their livery every race, which they probably do they? I don't know. Do they
no,
change
they
it
don't, but
every
they've had a lot.
race?
They've had a lot though.
And they could all look great. But who cares?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. They were good too. Anyway, so no, Merckx had an absolute just
Kimmy got crashed into.
shocker. Yeah,
See-
half the diffuser hanging off.
Russell was in the hunt for some decent points. And then got real aggressive.
But they rolled the dice. You're right.
That's what I mean, yeah, you've gotta
So aggressively.
When he was picking up good points,
Yep.
got real aggressive and then just didn't need to. They had Alonso proving that this was not a good method.
It was.
He was
a
not.
horror
He was
show.
losing time. It might still be okay. Let's just do it in a lap or two.
No, but you're right.
Yeah.
It wasn't a case of. It was almost like a Hail Mary on the dries.
And it was all done by Russell, who wasn't looking at the data.
But if you were in 17, 18, 19, 20, like that kind of move in that qualifying position makes sense. But when you like fifth, was it? I think it was fifth. You qualified fifth off the top of my head. To go for that extremity and just want to dominate the race from that position, it was so wrong in every way, shape, and form.
And speaking of way in the bed, I didn't want to say the other word.
Yep.
Ocon managed to cut across his teammate, and then Behrman actually apologised to the team. I couldn't really work that one out, but anyway.
That was a 10-second penalty too, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was. Yeah, anyway, it was. It wasn't his finest hour, and
No.
which is why I have him down as a pretender on my whiteboard.
It's
a good whiteboard, isn't it?
It is a good whiteboard.
I'm looking forward to adding more.
Are you going to add anyone this week?
Well, I've got this middle tier ready to go.
Where are you going to add Lance Stroll?
Lance Stroll, I was a pretender every day of the week. I'm surprised I
Bottom of the
haven't got him
barrel.
Well,
No, he can't bottom of the barrel. He's scored a podium, and he pulls out results every now and then. But he's a pretender. He's not a Formula 1 driver. He's not in Franco.
So he's being bumped up.
Are you
now.
adding him? Like, are we going to add
No,
someone
well,
each week?
he's currently bottom of the barrel, but I've realised that needs to be reserved for people who can't drive Formula 1 cars.
Okay, cool.
Am I adding anyone else?
Is this like a weekly thing? We adding one a week?
I
How
think
is
I'll
the
do it.
whiteboard working?
I think I'll do it in spurts.
It's
to be honest
just
with you.
as you feel like it.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like an advent calendar. Like you get to open a new one every
Uh,
race.
Well, I need this second tier.
You do need to sort your second tier.
All right. Well, let's just call it second tier.
Second shelf.
Second
We
shelf.
talked about this last week.
Yeah, it's not quite the same. At the moment, I'm going to put Hamilton in this second shelf.
Maybe you could put it out to fans. Like if you listed as second tier, second shelf this week.
No, that's people have put in their suggestions.
Well, do we have other suggestions?
Yeah, which is the glass ceiling.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So
to
there's
me.
an unknown barrier that stops you from being promoted.
No, the glass ceiling. The whole idea of a glass ceiling is that you are limited to how high you can get.
Yes.
And so with Lewis, I don't think it would fit for Lewis because Lewis has been higher. He's just not there at the moment. So yeah, so my second shelf, I'd put Lewis quite happily in.
Yep.
I'm so torn on where Lando fits at the moment. I think he's. I don't want to name him. I don't want to name where he goes. But I feel like Gasly and Hulkenberg are in this.
Okay.
But should they be at the same level as the Hamilton? So there's some thinking to be done. I'm not ready to lock anyone in, even though they're never locked in because Stroll's moved up.
It's almost like you need to call it like Matthew McConaughey. All right.
Nah, that's mid-range, isn't it? But I like that. The McConaughey. Yeah, okay. All right. Let's get into All Signs 3, 2, and 1. Thank you to All Signs. Wow, they do some good work. Who are your 3 points going to this week?
Yeah, I mean 3 to Hog, 2 to Gasly, and 1 to Oscar.
Okay.
I don't reckon there'd be too many disagreeing with that.
No, I can't argue with that.
Good.
It's the same for me, I think. Please be different.
Yep.
Good. Thank goodness. I hate being the same. But
So 3 points to Colapinto. No, kidding. So 3 points Hulk. If you do not put 3 points to Hulk, Jesus Christ.
19th to 3rd in a Sauber.
Breaks the streak, just great. And wins a Lego trophy.
No.
His daughter is bloody up in arms about it. Like,
Do you like the Lego trophy?
We'll get there.
okay, sure. All right.
like the Lego trophy.
I'm going 1 point to the Canadian because, ordinarily, if he was put on a really good tyre strategy,
Hang
he
on,
would
did
have
you skip
absolutely...
Who are your votes?
2 points Gasly. 2 points Gasly.
Who was your 3?
3. Ooh, so
one.
Hulkenberg, Gasly, Stroll.
Didn't like Oscar's race?
That wouldn't have been on. No, I can understand why you wouldn't go, Oscar.
I'm always I'm the reserve driver. I do something different. No, like I'd never give it to the front teams.
That wasn't on your bingo card, though, was it?
No, absolutely.
Yeah. That Hulkenberg, Gasly, and Stroll gets your points for
Yeah,
this week.
exactly. But I don't really rank anyone that's in the McLarens at the moment because they're always going to run a fantastic race.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm
So,
with you on that.
I stick
Just
to it.
we're
like,
dirty.
yeah, show some Australian pride. Good enough.
We're upset
but,
still.
I'm a little bit different. Gave it to the
11-second lead in the wet, man. It's not great.
14, actually. Got out to 14.
Oh, well, no wonder you're upset.
Fucking hell. Jesus. Don't. Oh, I was getting over it. Who's your dad?
Who's my dad? I mean, like, really simply, it's Mercedes this week. It was just horrific. And I don't think it needs any other clarification.
No,
outside
and
of that.
Toto completely agreed with you.
Yeah.
I love Toto's
It was
words
a
where
shocker.
everybody failed this weekend.
Everybody
across the board, and
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
his no blame culture. It's not one person; it's all of us.
Yes.
Yes. It needs no explanation around that.
Dad?
Oscar.
Oh,
Only for one. No, one thing. Put the cherry on it.
I like this.
Which
I
was
don't mind this.
the cherry
we haven't mentioned
was. If you believe that I shouldn't have got the penalty, switch me back.
That's fine.
He
That's
called
fine.
team orders.
No, he didn't. He
What
questioned, and he
he
knew all fully well that it was not going to happen. If Max finishes second, tell me that they don't question and protest that.
My rule with drivers on radios is they're allowed to say dumb things on radios
said
in
it.
a race,
Yeah, which is
in the emotion. If you continue to say dumb things when you get out of the car, that's when I get grumpy at you.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. That was a terrible thing to ask for. His was like, you don't ask, you don't get. I don't mind that, but
Yeah.
you can do those things in the car when the emotions get in the better of you. If you keep on laying that line when you get out, which he changed his mind, he said, that was never going to be fair to Lando. I understand that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not too bad. Right, our next drink is my dad. I got to do my dad.
Who's your dad?
Lego trophies. You cannot tell me that we're in the pinnacle of the world motorsport, the glitz and the glamour around Formula One.
Yep.
It is a hype train. Anyone wants to be in this sport at the moment.
Yeah.
And we are giving out a Lego trophy to one of the most prestigious races on the calendar.
Mm.
It is a disgrace. I don't mind them playing around with Lego cars. I don't mind them playing around with Lego things around the event. But when you're on that podium and you are getting a trophy, it should be a trophy. Because now, poor old Hulkenberg has got a Lego trophy instead of something special to put on his mantelpiece. Absolute rubbish.
I loved it.
I got no doubt you did. I got no doubt you loved it.
Because the BRC trophy that you get is just about the best trophy that you get. And then throughout the years, the second and third trophies have just been rubbish sponsor
You
trophies.
give those ones back.
Yeah, no.
The British
the BRC one you get,
yeah.
but then you get like little versions of this little Lego. I thought it was so great.
It's better than getting like a random 3D
so
printed
good.
piece
Disagree.
of artistic crap.
Disagree.
Oh, you get the
Lego.
the old Santander ones that you used to get. I like the Heineken
Grow
ones with
up.
the star. I thought
This
they
is
were
Formula
great.
One.
Lando,
if you want to win a go-kart race, sure,
Brilliant.
go for it.
Brilliant. Even the little F1 boards along the weekend with little Lego blocks too. I loved it. We're all about kids and people getting involved. Tell me that like an 8 or a 10-year-old doesn't look at that and go, yes.
I'm with you. Give the 8-year-old a Lego trophy because you like
so
it.
Good. I want one.
This is
It's
Formula One.
brilliant.
We are not into Lego. We are absolutely cheapening the sport by giving that out.
Lando did get the real BASA.
No, you
The
give it
real
back. You hang out
Yeah.
with it for the next 2 hours,
Because it gets
and you give it
engraved.
back.
It gets engraved.
The one he got to keep
Is a Lego.
is a Lego trophy.
Yep.
Well, it's better than just getting the
It's a
medal.
gold one. He got the medal as
He's
well.
got
Oh,
the,
the
like,
medal,
better
don't
than,
get
like
me started on
imagine
the
if
medal.
he just gave it like, here's a medal, here's your participation
Drink
medal
up.
that you.
I loved it. I thought it was great. That's a cheeky hero of the hour
else you
for
got down
me.
there?
Will be the actual Lego trophies. That's a cheeky hero. But can I also just hero of the hour for Bortoletto straight into pit lane, celebrating with Hulk. Max fist bumping in the car on the way out. So pumped.
I love that.
Why
It was
people
fun.
hate Max, I can't understand. Because it was so brilliant. He was so absolutely elated for Hulk as well for doing that too. I thought the McLaren livery was a bit of a cheeky hero of the hour too. See, there was lots of positives too.
Our last drink into the oh, you got any more? Sorry.
I was
Oh,
going
go.
to say the grid walk. I thought the grid walk was pretty alright.
It was
too.
good.
I tell you what, I wanted more of. I wanted more of Nigel Mansell and Jackie Stewart talking.
Oh my
I
god,
was
that
like-
should be a TV
I
show,
was
should
like,
it not?
please keep talking. I'm like, oh.
Should that not be a TV show?
But what
Yes.
if just two people there? And like I said last week, I was preparing myself for absolute slosh fest of biased, and I don't feel like we got it this week.
Oh, no, we definitely did.
Oh, I didn't think
Definitely did, but it didn't worry me because the British fans still know their motorsport. They're just so biased. The commentators are so biased. It's fine. I understand it. So are we.
Yep. Yeah.
But they also know their motorsport. And I'm with you, that grid walk. But when I saw Nigel Mansell and Jackie,
I was
the
like,
first thing I thought of is what we need. I'm pitching this show.
Yeah.
We need Nigel and Jackie
Yeah.
doing
Just like driving
each
around
Grand Prix.
the
No,
countryside
doing each
or
Grand Prix. So
something.
they might travel together
Yep.
to the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And I want to see the
do
dynamic
that.
between
Yeah,
them.
it's so
They
good.
can't be arsed with that, but I want to see it. It'd be
Well,
great.
Williams brought the Red 5 down, and Zach Brown owns that one, and he did a show run.
That was one of my.
around in
That was one
Memphis.
of my heroes of the hour.
Yeah, sorry.
Why don't we have more
Yeah.
of these historic cars at every
Historical
race?
show runs,
God, they're good.
Which is so good. What do you think of the Sky Data Wall on the weekend? What do you think of that? That Kieran Chandok was sort of broadcasting. from?
I don't mind trying new things.
I thought the camera angle was weird. That I probably would have preferred to have seen the actual screen itself rather than Kieran.
Drink
Anyway.
up. Which glass are you using? Because we've got the next drink. You're
sorry.
double parked already, and I'm trying to triple park
Oh
you.
no!
Where's your other drink at?
I finished that one.
Well, get rid of the lemons. And
gin and-
lemon will be fine. This will go in there. There you go.
It can't be any worse than really what it already is.
Because I was about to say, like, if you actually had, say, like a David Attenborough style documentary where Nigel Mansell, Jackie Stewart, and whatever other guests you want to chuck in, they go around to the circuits, explain the history and everything like that. Like, Page didn't know that Silverstone was formerly a World War II airfield.
I guess you could explain the history. I was more going down the comic route, but you could add some information in there.
I was thinking more like sort of one of those spin-off cooking shows
Yes,
where they travel the world and
and
getting a bit of
in a
trouble.
VW or something like that.
Yep. A little bit like where the first Drive to Survive or second Drive to Survive, where Mattia Binotto and Gunther Steiner in the little car
Yeah,
together.
went around and had
That's season
pasta. and
5.
I wanted more. I wanted to
Yes.
see that with them at each race, but they could fly. I don't care if they fly.
Yeah.
Fly. I just want to see the dynamic between the two.
But like, I
It
can
looked
even-
fun.
Another element to that, one of my mates has got this beautifully illustrated and painted book of circuits. So it's actually got watercolour paintings of each of the circuits and how they look. Imagine opening up, you've got a watercolour painting and then just like slowly blends into a camera shot, and then there's Jackie Stewart and Nigel Mansell standing on the grid and saying, "And welcome to Silverstone," and then they go through the shot like...
It's far too serious for my life.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to see Nigel Mansell at his absolute
So you
worst.
want Top Gear with
Yes!
3X Formula
Bloody
1
oath, yes. Let's add Jeremy Clarkson. He'll spice things up.
There we go.
How good's Jeremy on a grid?
So good.
Our last drink of the British drink theme is we've got Stones, and all the English people will be laughing about this. Stones, we've got Ginger Joe.
Wow.
It is a
Jeepers.
ginger beer.
His hair's standing up a bit
This is
more
the
now.
one I thought if you're going to like any. I'm so surprised by the gin. and tonic.
Really?
I didn't think you like this one. I thought this is the one you like.
Okay.
Definitely smells
Oh,
familiar.
yeah, that's all right.
Oh, so there you go.
That's all right.
You are. I tell you what, you are going to be a sommelier by the end of this.
Smelly.
You're going to be a drink
that's all right.
connoisseur.
I like the first two.
I'm impressed by the way you're developing. Yeah, you're not a beer man. That's fine.
I'll go with it, that one.
I'll take it on board and I'll continue to supply beer.
Thank you.
Where are we at?
F1.5.
I'll do that.
No, I'm just saying.
F1.5, the greatest
championship in the
of
world
all
outside
time.
of what we've already got. Big episode this week, so let's just dive straight into it. Bottom to top, as always, random order, and then I'm giving you the top 4
Bottom to top in random order.
in correct order. I can do it however I like. Liam Lawson, 21 points. Almost, sort of. We're halfway through the season. Are we relegating? Maybe yes, maybe no. No, sorry. Colapinto, 21 points. Liam Lawson, 92 points.
I was going to say, that was very low.
Sorry, because I've got the opening of that bracket empty. Gabriel Bortoletto, 36.
Is that all?
That's all. Doing stranded on 19. Could be back. Probably not, but we'll leave him there. Pierre Gasly had a stonking weekend. He's in triple figures now in 113. And he's not far off the great man, who's on 115, Fernando Alonso. Stroll nabs 15 and ends up on 73. Ollie Behrman takes
Hang on,
home
what was
8.
Alonso on? Sorry.
Alonso was on 115.
Oh, yeah.
Gasly's on 130.
Petsing Stroll.
Yeah,
Okay.
Stroll,
Yep.
not just standard. Stroll's on 73. Ollie Behrman with 96. Carlos Sainz. It's just not happening for Sainz.
It
just
isn't.
At Williams. It's just not. It
was
happening.
looking, once again, it was looking good for him.
Yeah, but it's
and
just
then it
not.
just went backwards.
It's just a non-event. So,
Yep.
yeah, he'll be sitting there going, ugh. Like, he'll be looking at Hulk and going, why didn't I go to Audi? 112 for Sainz. In 4th place, this is where it's getting really tight here. Nico Hulkenberg. In 4th place suddenly. Wouldn't read about it, but would. 123 points for Hulk. He is 4 points behind Esteban Ocon in 3rd on 127. Can you believe it? And then it's just, we're back into Fumbletown with the mayor and the mayoress of Fumbletown. Deputy mayor, whatever kind of sort of public relations role you want to attach to it. Isaac Hadjar just not interested in winning.
No, all points in general.
What did I call it last week? I can't remember. Just allergic to being successful. Successitis is what I like to call it this week. Isaac Hadjar, 143 points. Just only wanted 2. Just DNF'd, which is the unique feature of F1.5.
It is a ridiculous feature.
2 points, not interested in winning. And then you've got Alex Albon, who, again, a month ago, would you like to be promoted out of the league? No, thanks.
How many points did he pick up this round?
Well, he actually had quite a lot. He picked up 12
I was gonna say.
and the fastest lap. So he's netted 17 points.
He's done okay.
Alex. So, Alex's allergy to winning is being promoted out of F1.5. So it's kind of like, you know when you go and do like feeder sports and you have a really terrible day on trial day to work out your
Yep.
your ranking, and then you're the best in a sucky field. That's what Alex is doing. So it's 185, leading all comers Alex Albon, and it's Isaac Hudger in second place, not interested in winning, on 143. So that is F1.5
Very good.
for this week, for the halfway point. Is it the official halfway point of the season? I think it is.
Yeah.
It could be.
I couldn't have. That's
It might be. I'm not quite sure. I
Could be.
feel like it is. Anyway.
I'm trying to work that out right now.
Anyway, I'm pretty
Nah,
confident.
don't worry about it. It's
close.
about then.
It's about there. Anyway.
Fantasy.
Fantasy. Thanks to Chris at Dr. Auto Art. If you are, well, I tell you what, it'll be all... I nearly messaged Chris yesterday and said, hey, we know you'll be doing the Sneaky Hulk print, which I'm sure Chris is currently in the studio just toiling away on the Hulkenberg artwork. And I was only going to say, give us a sneak break here. Like show us the goods early on. So, Chris, if you're listening and you haven't finished, could you send it to us first so we can have a look at it and we'll promote it? But if you...
What's the event?
I was going to say, that's to tell you. It's National Raspberry Day today.
Ooh.
So if you like raspberries,
I like raspberries.
and you know someone who appreciates raspberries,
It must be National Raspberry Day somewhere other than Australia, because
It's-
raspberry is very much a summer berry.
well, they're in season at the moment. I've got a punnet at my house, and they're furry.
No.
They're not at season.
Well,
at the
they
moment.
were at the supermarket, and I don't know
Yeah,
much
I
about
understand
food,
they're
so
at the
I
supermarket.
classify that as in
Which
season.
nation is it National
Yeah, I
Raspberry
couldn't
Day?
tell you, but I'll get to that. I'm sure it applies to everyone.
World
because
Raspberry Day.
raspberries are a worldwide food. Do you like raspberries, Sam?
Yeah, quite
You look
enjoyed
like
it.
someone who would like raspberries. Yeah, it's National Raspberry Day, and if you
I'm
know
not even sure
someone
what that
like
means.
Sam who appreciates raspberries, get down to Chris at Dr. Auto Art, his Instagram, Facebook,
More
Redbull,
importantly,
email.
it's our
Yes.
birthday's coming up.
It is our birthday, and I look forward to
People should be sending us
things.
Dr. Auto
Chris
Art.
should be, and I look
No,
forward...
not Chris. Other
Well,
people
anyone,
should buy
other
them
people
from
should.
Chris
Well,
to gift to
they
us.
will be the national. If we record on both of our days, they will be the national days.
Yep.
Which would be National You Day and
World.
National Me Day.
International.
Yeah, international. But get around, Chris. This is how the points went
I was going to say,
this week.
feels like you're delaying.
No, because again, my dud last week was the stupid app on my screen, and look, it's done it again. It's gonna be
Oh, so you don't know how
it's
bad you
2
are.
centimetre. Well, I was looking pretty good on Saturday when I was 6th. I thought,
Tell
here
me
we
more
go.
about Sunday.
And then it didn't happen on Sunday because everyone in my team collectively decided to DNF, and it was 20, 20, 20, 20, and I'm like, oh, for Christ's sake. Anyway, it didn't work, and Williams were having a horror, and then suddenly they weren't, so I'm not wrapped with that. Anyway, you've done all right this week. I finished on 131 this week. What did you finish on? Points wise,
Lots
you haven't
of
got
them.
it there. A little bit, a few more points. Sam, do you know yours? No, everyone's looking at me like that. 280 for you, Sam. You finished second for the round,
Huge.
my friend.
Huge, Sam.
Which is massive. However, it sounds impressive, but you wasted your Limitless on
Because-
a non-sprint weekend, so you have left points on the
Next
table.
weekend's a sprint week.
Oh, that would be a great time to use your Limitless because you get 2 races worth of Limitless. So you've
Do you?
Yeah.
No, you know
you've
what?
blown
I
it.
actually can listen
You've
to your
blown it.
damn consumer
Yes.
advice where you
Yes,
said
good.
that
You've blown
Ferrari are good in the heat. Guess what? There's a heat wave
I
currently
never said
happening
Ferrari.
in Europe, and it was
You-
hot.
You obviously
all throughout
don't
that.
listen to our episodes where I have been distancing myself from Ferrari as much as physically possible
And,
for the last
and the
year.
forecast said it was going to rain.
And it did rain. And if you watch
It did rain.
if you watch the race, Sam, it was
I think it rained, yeah.
It was pretty wet.
It did rain.
Last time we checked. Anyway, you did well on to finish second, but you wasted your Limitless.
Because of the
Remind
damn
me, what does
Charles
the Limitless
Leclerc.
do again? Sorry.
You just get all the money that you like, and you can have anyone that you like.
Oh,
so
that sounds like hard work.
it does sound like hard work. Adam Hughes took home the round win for the British Grand Prix on 291. You came second on 280. Simon Blackburn in third on 265. And then from that point onwards, it's David Rojas, Andy Tails, Paul Cook, Kai Norton on 254. Zanetta, Dean Holt, and Alison Johnson rounding out the top 10 on 245. Now we go to the all-important overall standings. And it looks a little bit like this. And you'll be interested in overall standings this week, my friend. David Rojas leaves all comers, but I tell you what, it's tight at the top. He leads 2,777. Jolyon Dyer in second place, 2,772 points behind. So just 5 points separate first and second. Dean Holt in third, Andy Tails in fourth, Chloe Anderson, Nicola Taylor, Roman Merrick on 2,536, Declan Carr, Zanetta and Dino Bandini round out the top 10 there on 2,422. Now, I was streaking away from you, and I was in 16th.
I remember you telling me all about it.
But I've fallen back,
Into
and
it.
you've caught me. So I am 23rd, I think, if I've added that correctly, because I can't see my stupid screen. I'm in 2,269, and you are right behind me this week in 24th. It would look at 2,258, so an 11-point gap between you and me.
Nothing in it.
Nothing in it at all. So you've clawed it back. So it'll be an interesting run home there too. And
I've just played the Limitless chip.
You've just gone all in.
I've figured if I don't do it now, I'll
Good,
forget
you
to do
will
it ever.
forget that.
Because that's how my season goes.
Good, I like that. Yeah, it's the right time on a sprint weekend because you get sprints worth of all those points too. So
Hear that, Sam? Sprint weekend.
Yep. Nico Hulkenberg was the big winner of the weekend. 48 points if you had Nico. But yeah, I just had a shocker with the actual drivers. I had Liam Lawson minus 18, Gabriel Bortoletto minus 20, Hadjar minus 20, and then obviously lost 20 in my constructors for Kimi there too. So 2, 4, 6, 8. There's about 80 points I've left on the table this weekend, which I'm not thrilled with. Anyway.
What's wrong?
No, just your choice of drivers.
Microphones just there.
Yeah, just choice of drivers.
For the Limitless.
Yeah, for the Limitless.
What change would you make? Amazingly, Hamilton's scored more points than Leclerc in Fantasy World.
Yeah, well I think Hulk is under Charles. Now,
I don't want to give it away to some of the punters, but there's somebody there that I would have thought you'd replace them with Hamilton.
Which one?
Your bottom left.
Russell.
Yeah.
No,
I didn't know if I was going to give it away.
No,
I'm sure. What the fuck not?
Don't worry about me. I don't care. I figured I'd have a little bit of a Russell. Russell scored more points than Hamilton.
Because I suppose one of the things is that if your teammate outscores the other one, it gets bonus points. So at some point, Hamilton or Leclerc would be capped out because they can't outscore each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, I wouldn't be too stressed about my team. You just focus over your way.
Oh, yeah, just a race to the bottom. Yep.
Very good news. Holy moly. Did you know Max Verstappen, someone at Mercedes, is willing to offer him a contract? Did you know this, Tristan?
I did know that.
Do you think that there is a team on the grid outside of McLaren that wouldn't be willing to offer Max Verstappen a contract, Tristan?
That wouldn't want Max.
Is there anyone other than McLaren? McLaren's come out and said, no, not for us. We like our drivers. Thank you.
Pretty fair enough.
Yep, they're going well.
Can't afford it.
No. They can offer him a contract.
They don't want to offer
money.
one.
Yeah.
So that was what I'm getting at. Is that was the news that came out.
Yep.
Mercedes was willing to offer Max a contract if he was willing to come across.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
the world went into meltdown. Oh my God!
Did they really?
Mercedes are willing to offer Max a contract. They haven't offered him a contract. He hasn't accepted a contract. However, this is the big news. My golly!
Gosh, who would have thought? Who would have thought that you'd want a 4-time world champion?
Yeah. Do you think that he's going to move to Mercedes?
Well,
with that said possible contract?
I mean, you can never say never in this business, can you?
No,
you
absolutely
really
not.
can't.
Absolutely not.
It's strange that George doesn't have a contract just already.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we often know summer break is the downtime where this kind of stuff happens.
Knowing that Max possibly is on the market, would you offer George a contract yet?
Maybe, yeah, maybe no.
Is there a possibility that having George as a contracted driver means that Max Verstappen's less interested in being a Mercedes driver?
Is it a case of if George is contracted, then you need to provide Kimi with a home? And is it too early to convince someone else to take Kimi in his limited run that he's had so far? And do you need to provide Kimi more weekends?
It'd be tough to house him. I'm sure there'd be takers though. He seems bloody good,
Again,
but you've got to be right circumstances, don't you? It's got to be in the right interest of Kimi.
That's right.
But for me, like, I don't know, like, I think the Max Verstappen thing is real, but they're not going to sign up anybody.
No.
Until they know whether Max
doing.
can be there. If Max's condition is, George, I don't like him.
Yeah.
I don't like his face. He annoys the crap out of me. And that sort of seems to be the way that they operate, those two.
They'll probably go, we can fix that for you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if he's uncontracted,
Yep.
then that leaves just that little bit on the table. Rightio, we're willing to go with Kimi and Max.
Yeah, it's an extremely higher grade of Carlos Sainz situation at the moment, isn't it? Where we're all waiting on Carlos to see what he did last year. Now we're wondering. Well, I mean, we're more wondering at the moment. We're wondering, are we going to wait on Max or not for this?
Do you think Max pulls the trigger before 26, or do you think he waits until 26 is ran and then you've got a better idea of who's where?
He probably waits because of the new engine. And I think
so.
if Red Bull weren't going with the OEM and the Ford powertrain and, you know, all that development, then he probably jumps ship. But you just don't know. This Ford powertrain.
Well, I think that's the lure for him, because everyone's talking about how Mercedes
could be the best thing on the grid.
Will be the one to go for. No one really knows that.
No,
do they?
and that's it. You don't know. The Ford's the untried,
If I was
uncharted territory.
If I was Max, I'd hold out a year
Yep.
and see where things lie, and you can nearly sign your contract anywhere you want.
But then that's probably could be the thing that Mercedes is worrying about with George too. Is if we just say we're just going to give you one,
He goes.
It's almost a non-show of faith to George.
Yeah, he goes somewhere else.
Saying we'll have you because we can't get what we really want. Yeah. So you're right. George probably goes to looks at Aston. Well, I mean, George would
Aston Martin.
Aston
possibly.
will have George. Red Bull will probably have George.
Is Audi all of a sudden interested?
No, I think if they're smart with what they've got,
are they an interesting prospect?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you take George over what they've got? You would. You have to.
How long do you hold on to Bortolotto?
Oh,
Like, he's good. He's good quality. He's a developing driver and everything like that. But if you can quick change a rookie that doesn't have that much of a contract, you can dump money into
I think George is... Like, where's George on my whiteboard? Is he top tier?
Nah, he's second.
He's the second tier, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's... But, yeah, I mean, Hulkenberg, is he second tier? I don't actually think he is second tier. He's just bloody good at what he does.
So the McConaughey then.
Yeah, but he's better than a right, isn't he?
Yeah.
I feel like that's like...
See, the middle tier's now got a name now.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's the middle, though. I think it might be just a bit above the Pretenders.
But that's what it's
McConaughey.
Yeah, I think Aston have George. I think Red Bull have George. Ooh. Well, I mean, if Max goes, you've got to get someone, and you can't go and have two rookies in Red Bull. It's not the Red Bull. You can't. It's no. Hashi can have two rookies. Of course you can. Any other team up and down the grid, you can have two rookies from, outside the top four. Williams, you can have two. Alpine, you can have two. Hashi can have two. Racing Bulls actually have two. Aston, you could probably
Next
have
question around all this.
Yeah.
Is employing Max a little bit of a gamble, considering we know the path he's taken this Red Bull down to be very pointy and suit his driving style and no one else's? Is that a gamble to employ somebody that is going to take you down that path potentially again? Now, it hasn't always been that dramatic.
Not as bad as a gamble as having too smooth of a rolling road so that you don't know the zero pod concept doesn't work until you show up at Barcelona.
Yeah, I mean,
come on. Aerodynamicists can only do so much.
I think Mercedes, the way they operate, is very different to Red Bull.
And so is Max going to be able to drive that?
I think it would be a case of he would look at... He probably can. Yeah, he probably can. He can probably drive anything. I mean, he can. Of course, he can drive anything.
He can drive an Aston Martin
anything.
GT3.
It's just more that the comfort that he has at Red Bull
from
such an early age.
How on earth do they get to this point where no one can drive that car then?
Because of the success that Max has had in the first time that car rolled out, and the skyrocketing success that he has had that has delivered constructor and world champions.
What's stopping that from happening again?
just the general operation of the way that Mercedes operate v Red Bull. That it would be almost like a contract clause that you arrive and you will not get this.
Oh,
they would protect themselves from that.
They couldn't possibly, because they've got to put everything behind their driver.
The other thing to that is then
it's just going to be
that's where Kimi stays.
He's not going to have that voice. Your feedback, like they got to have that feedback from their driver. They've all got to be rowing in the same direction.
I reckon
that's my big question.
I reckon they protect themselves.
Yeah, but how do you employ someone and not row in the same direction that they want you to take them in?
Well, look at Lewis.
That's the hardest part.
Look at Lewis and Ferrari,
and look how much he's struggling.
Yeah, I know,
because he can't make everyone make this team work the way he wants them to.
But then I look at that, and I look at that. That's a Ferrari operational thing, that they are stuck in their Ferrari ways, and that they won't take his feedback on board.
They did it to Vettel.
That's the way I look at that, is that they will refuse his feedback because this is us, this is the way we do it, and you're in our team.
And look at the consequences.
Yeah, no, I know, but whereas look
at the consequences of Vettel.
And
You've got to row in the same direction.
And that's why I think that when he goes to Mercedes,
if he goes to Mercedes,
they'll put parameters in place, because there are two cases in point. Even current Red Bull at the moment, they can see the other cars failing, and it will be a case of, you can come to us. But again, he'll leave if the Red Bull's rubbish.
It would be so counterproductive, and there is no way Max Verstappen is going to any team that isn't going to do everything that he needs them to do to put a car together. He wouldn't. He just wouldn't go.
I think he will. You can tell. I can tell by his demeanour and the way he is at the moment that I've got 4. I'm very content with where I am at the moment. If it's a choice of the Red Bull fails and the Ford engine fails, I'll get out of there and I'll live with a different dynamic within a different team to avoid driving a failed piece of machinery.
Maybe. It's just such an interesting... I mean, for me, you employ Max Verstappen, whatever you do, it is just such an interesting path that team takes after that. And it hasn't just all of a sudden happened. It's happened over a long period of time where they've got themselves down this path and they've lost so many people. Let's not forget the amount of people that have walked out from Red Bull in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So what they had to build all of that has just sort of disappeared on them. They're a really interesting watch for me, Red Bull, at the moment. I'm interested to see how they go with the new regulations, being now engine developers themselves. Yeah, it's a huge watch. Is Christian Horner really settled, or is he
going to Ferrari,
or is all the politics still all in there?
Yep.
Any other news? I just found it so interesting, but it is an interesting watch.
Well, I mean, obviously we've got the Valtteri to Alpine. Is the 5 races up? I mean, some people say yes, some people say no. Sam's slipping us.
Don't like it
for some unknown reason.
As I said during the whatever episode it was where I said you can only have one more driver change for Alpine, right?
Yeah.
So we can bring back Colapinto. Well, we can keep Colapinto, bring back Doohan. We obviously have Gasly. You only have one more roll of the dice.
How many more do you want?
But that's the thing, though. Like, you have Mick Schumacher, who is a part of, is a reserve driver.
You're going to go to another unknown instead of someone who knows.
One. That sun
but you throw in Bottas.
That sun has set.
Like with Bottas, he needs to do the right career moves right now if he wants to land a seat with Cadillac, if that's even an option on the table. You know, if Red Bull wants somebody that's experienced and needs somebody to replace Max if he goes. Mm-hmm. Right now, Bottas needs to be sensible, and the not sensible thing is to go to Alpine right now to prove Flavio's point.
I think they want him to go. They've got a car that can do things. Their issue is if the window is just so narrow and they can't work out why it'll do things in between sessions without changing anything. All of a sudden it's behaving differently. And I think they're looking for, is this a Gasly thing? Because Gasly's their absolute developer. Jack Doohan doesn't know how to develop a car. No. Franco Colapinto doesn't know how to develop a car. And so everything's on Gasly. And is Gasly's the way that he wants to develop this car, is this taking it down a dead end? And so they're looking for that experience to come in and say, out of all my experience, this is what we need to do next. Dan Ricciardo talked about being that person with Toro Rosso when he came back into the Racing Bulls, where he was so important. I mean, Yuki Tsunoda was not driving that well until Dan came back in. Dan made such changes to that team just with that experience and say, let's go down this path because this is what I'm feeling.
Yep. And the best promotion for Valtteri is to be on the grid rather than be doing show runs and hot laps.
And walks along the back of the garages, doing all his filming. He's great at that part.
Yep.
And so, I don't have a problem with it. I'd rather see Jack in there, but that's just...
I'd rather see Jack in there.
That's just me being patriotic.
And that's so many what ifs.
Yep.
That's if this 5-race thing is up. Because it might not be.
There was no 5-race thing. I've never heard of the 5-race thing for him.
But I have.
the three...
Jack was on the 5-racer.
Colapinto had the 3 rules. Score points, be fast in your teammate, don't crash.
He's done none of those things.
Exactly. So the 3 rules are up. So, where do you go?
Yeah.
But he was also, that was his 3 rules, but we're also going to see it through and we're going to look after him and we're going to give him the time he needs. So everything's so contradictory
and that's,
coming out of...
Look at the socials this weekend where it's like, Franco, heartbreak, can't believe you didn't get out of the pit lane.
Yeah, no, I don't mind the Bottas move.
Makes sense
for them.
To me.
They're just so lost because you can get a result like this. We've seen a few other results like this where all of a sudden it's happening, or even between sessions, they're looking so good and then they're nowhere.
Flav will be looking to save face too, because you can't say that I'm backing this man in, and he does no better. He'll be looking to save face.
I mean, particularly that team.
Absolutely.
You
He'll be looking to save face going, okay, I'm out of here. Or
Yeah.
I'm getting rid of this one.
Yep.
Yeah, so it makes sense. And again, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Any other news that you want to talk about?
No, not really. That's about it, news-wise.
Sorted. Wonderful. Next race, we're heading to Spa. Track to track. How good.
So good.
What's your prediction?
We've been close with our early 3, haven't we?
I've been on Piastri.
Have you? Yeah, I went to Oscar last week. It was almost...
It was there.
Yeah.
Just wasn't.
I think Max. Yeah.
He goes well there.
And the new rear wing.
Charles goes well here.
Charles does go well there, but unfortunately Ferrari are no good, so...
Yeah.
There's that
I
too.
wonder what the weather's going to be doing. We've got a week off, haven't we? So
we do, unfortunately.
No point looking
absolutely
for forecasts at the moment.
I'm going to go Max. They went early with that rear wing this weekend, and he had incredible straight line speed in the dry.
It was like they were testing for this race.
That's exactly what they were doing. So yeah, they've got a little bit of that back end nose. Yeah, so Max for me, Max for the win.
Oscar for me.
Okay.
Yep, the good all rounder.
No, Lando, it's an upturn in form. And he's raced here for how many years now, and if he's got the good vibes going and everything's just working out for him and find your flow state at Spa, mate.
He seems back on track, doesn't he? And I'm with you. The good vibes from the race weekend, he won't let the fact that Oscar was faster than him across the weekend, he won't let that get in the way of the good vibes and just carrying it on. So yeah, I can see that. Very good. Cool. Wonderful. Fan Frenzy will be out a little bit later in the week. But until then, enjoy. Goodbye now.